Yeehaw, soldiers! It's your boy, the Sage, current turner video, and this is another Legacy fanfic reading, chapters 23 for 25. Let's get into this. You can call this whatever you want. You can call this the part 2 section of Legacy, since this is going to be part of the part 2 movie. You can call it Legacy Season 2, whatever you want to call it. Legacy is back, and we're continuing the fanfic reading until we finish it off with chapter 68, 69, whatever it is. Anyways, so before I get into this reading, first follow me on Twitter, @sage4, Instagram, @_sage4, and of course, join my Discord server, and I will give you all reasons to follow / join us at the end of the video, so watch us to the end, watch my community type like a hawk, and be prepared for some more projects that are going to be coming up pretty soon. In fact, there is an old project that I teased a long time ago that I'm ready to debut its first chapter pretty soon. So yeah, be prepared, because that is going to be amazing for those of you who are longtime fans of this channel. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the fanfic reading, starting off with chapter 23, Invasion. Konoha outskirts. About half a mile outside of Konoha, there was an Anbu team doing patrol. It was a regular mission, and they seemed calm, as patrol missions very rarely presented any trouble at all. Although they seemed calm on the outside, all of the Anbu personnel were warned about the incoming invasion, and as such they were all on high alert. They just didn't show it. Suddenly, an Anbu of said team stopped and looked around. "Sense anything?" another Anbu asked. "No, Captain," the Anbu that stopped replied. Well, he replied another thing to his team leader using the Anbu sign language. "Possible shinobi group," the Anbu said, and the leader nodded. The Anbu quickly and stealthily approached the encampment and saw about 8 sand shinobi gathered in a circle. In the middle of the circle were kanji spread through it and stopping just near each of the sand shinobi's feet. Each of the sand shinobi had a small scroll in their mouths and was going through hand seals very slowly. From the looks of it, the technique seemed awfully complicated, and it seemed they must not get it wrong. "Looks like a summoning ring," one Anbu said to their captain. "Yes, we can't allow them to summon anything. Get in your positions," the captain ordered. "I can't allow that," a voice suddenly said behind them. They all turned around and saw a man. He had auburn hair, dark eyes. He wore a simple black jacket and pants with mesh armor underneath. He carried a small canister strapped to his hip. It was none other than the Yondaime Kage himself. Suddenly, what appeared to be sand started flowing out of his canister, and quickly and swiftly it wrapped around all 4 Anbu, crushing them to death. "Let's get this over with," the Kage commanded. Stadium, with the crowd. "What's this?" Sakura asked as she watched feathers start falling from nowhere, making her sleepy. "Genjutsu?" she asked, right before breaking the illusion. "Genjutsu?" Sasuke wondered as he also broke the illusion. "We are being invaded by the sound and the sand," Kakashi explained, as he fought against a couple of sound shinobi. "What?" Sakura yelled. "The sand is our allies," she stated. "They are no longer our allies. We knew about this invasion since the end of the second phase of the Chunin exams, so we are prepared," Kakashi said, trying to ease worries of a fresh genin. "Then why didn't we know?" Sasuke asked, getting pissed off by being kept in the dark. "We had to keep it a secret, so he didn't find out we knew," Kakashi said. Sakura was pretty much terrified from what was happening. She never had any real type of mission aside from the wave mission that got bumped into an A rank, so she was pretty fresh. Sakura was from a civilian family, and as such, she was prepared for the hardships of shinobi life, and lived her life sheltered in Konoha. Sakura was about to ask another thing when they noticed Gaara explode in sand and showed his fully transformed Biju. Sakura never got so scared in her life and seen such a colossal beast right in front of her. In that moment, she realized what people must have faced when the QB attacked 14 years ago. Sensei, Gaara, Sakura tried to say, but her voice didn't reach her. She looked around, and everyone from her graduation class was sleeping along with the civilians. Only Sakura, Hinata, and apparently Sasuke managed to spell the Genjutsu. Sasuke is an arrogant kid, but he isn't without skill. "Don't worry, Sakura. I said we planned for this, and Naruto will take care of Gaara," Kakashi said. "You mean that Dobi knew while me and Uchiha Elite didn't?" Sasuke asked. "This isn't the time, Genin," Kakashi said in a serious voice. "Your mission is to help evacuate the civilians to the shelters. Wake up your classmates and separate into teams. Go!" Kakashi commanded, and Sakura immediately jumped to her feet while Sasuke was reluctant but nodded as well. Hinata, team up with Zabuza and Haku, and start sweeping and treating those you can, Kakashi said, and she nodded. Holy! Kakashi all but yelled when he looked at the arena and saw a massive poof of smoke. But the surprising part was that the smoke wasn't coming from Shukaku, but rather from Naruto himself. Kage box. When Orochimaru gave the signal to start the invasion, the entire Kage box erupted in smoke, blocking the sight of the Kages, and making the guards take defensive maneuvers to ensure the safety of their leaders. Every one of them jumped from the Kage box into the nearby roof. What neither of them expected was for the Kage's guards to suddenly become 4 people, each one of them taking a corner of the roof. Each one of the guards was from the sound. All of them went for the same hand seals at the same time. They all shouted, Ninpo, Shishinjin, Ninja Art, 4 Flames Formation, and a purple barrier like the one in the arena emerged and trapped the Kages inside. Inside the barrier was the Hokage, the Raikage, the Kazekage, and surprisingly there was also Jiraiya, who managed to follow his sensei to the roof and also got trapped inside. What's the meaning of this? Raikage asked, not pleased with what was happening. Each of the Kages was keeping a secure distance from each other. I'm sorry for not warning you, Raikage don't know, but I didn't know which side you would take, the Hokage spoke and made the Raikage glare at him. Explain, the Raikage almost shouted. Let me do the honors, Raikage, the Kazekage said, before removing his clothes and revealed a smirking Orochimaru. Orochimaru? The Raikage asked, not believing his eyes. How could Orochimaru be posing as the Kazekage, and neither he nor his guards noticed it? I am, Orochimaru replied with a twisted smile. Now, sensei, let the fun begin, Orochimaru said, licking his lips in anticipation. You fool. It's 3 against 1. You stand no chance, the Raikage replied, getting raised eyebrows from the Hokage and Jiraiya. Kumo and Konoha were never on really good terms since the Hyuga kidnapping. Free? The Hokage asked hopefully. Yes, I will fight with you. Consider it an apology for my father's mistakes, the Raikage said, before gathering his voice and shouting, Kumo! We fight for Konoha! Hi! Darui and Killabee yelled from outside the barrier before splitting off and going to face the Sound and Sand ninja head-on. I appreciate it, Raikage don't know, the Hokage said. Perhaps there was hope to an alliance between the 2 most powerful hidden villages. Yes. Now, let's skin a snake, the Raikage said, smirking. Orochimaru never expected Kumo to join Konoha. That is why, even though the Raikage was present, Orochimaru still launched his invasion. Naive, Orochimaru said before going through hand seals. Orochimaru may be a lot of things, but one thing he wasn't was stupid, and as such he was prepared for such odds. Tiger, snake, dog, dragon. Orochimaru went through the hand seals and clapped his hands. Kuchios no Jutsu, Edo Tensei, Orochimaru said, and almost immediately 4 coffins sprouted from the ground. The coffin slowly opened and revealed 4 shinobi seemingly dead, but in reality they were just waiting for Orochimaru to activate them for the upcoming battle. Shit! The Raikage, Hokage, and Jiraiya all fought at the same time when they saw who was in each of the summoned coffins. Arena. Naruto watched in wonder at the sheer size of the Shukaku. That's one big raccoon, Naruto said. Hayate, Naruto said, turning to him. Leave the arena, Naruto said, and he nodded, knowing full well that Naruto was responsible for taking him down, and having him there could disturb Naruto's fight. Kurama, juice me, Naruto fought to his partner. Okay, Kurama replied before saying chakra to Naruto. Almost instantly, a semi-transparent red cloak enveloped Naruto. His eyes turned blood red with a black vertical slit in the middle. His whisker marks became more pronounced, and his fangs elongated. On Naruto's back, 9 chakra tails were swinging wildly, as if they had a mind of their own. Naruto placed his hands in a cross sign and said, Taju Kage Bunshi no Jutsu, Mass Shadow Clone Jutsu, and in an instant, nearly 2,000 clones popped into existence, consuming his cloak, each one of them with enough chakra to match a Jonin. There were Naruto's as far as the eye could see. Spread through the village. Your priority is to protect and evacuate the civilians. Provide assistance where you can, Naruto ordered. Hi! All the clones chorused before jumping away from the arena, leaving their career to fight the Ichibi. Naruto placed his hands again in a cross sign and said, "In hand shadow clone," and a single clone poofed into existence. This clone was like the rest, however, he was reinforced, making him more durable than the others, and capable of taking hits before dispelling. "Join with Hinata-chan and protect her," he said, and a clone nodded before using her Rasen to teleport himself to Hinata. "Shadow clone jutsu," Naruto said, and 4 clones poofed into existence. "Kurama, I'll put up a barrier. Can you take control of the Bunshins and hold it in place?" Naruto asked. Keeping 2,000 Shadow clones active, powering an S-rank barrier, and still being able to fight Biju required too much concentration that Naruto wasn't capable of yet. "No problem," Kurama replied. In an instant, the 4 clones sprinted to the 4 corners of the arena. They went through hand seals at the same time and said, "Ninpo, Shishinjin, Ninja Art, 4 Flames Formation," and a purple barrier erupted, trapping Shukaku and Naruto inside. However, before the whole barrier could close, 3 Sand Shinobi jumped over the forming barrier and landed inside. They were Sabaku no Tamari, Sabaku no Kankuro, and their joint sensei Baki. "Damn," Naruto said as he watched the Sand Shinobi take place near Gaara. "This has just gotten a lot more dangerous." No holding back, Naruto thought before permanently keeping his EMS activated. His hand tightly gripped his fan as he became about ready to go off against a Jonin to getting any Biju. "I'll have to take out Kankuro and Tamari first," Naruto thought before releasing his grip on his fan and taking from his storage seals a couple of free-pronged kunai. Naruto watched as the Sand Shinobi jumped to the head of Shukaku, and yet he did nothing to remove them. "Looks like Gaara is mostly in control," Naruto thought. He looked up to Shukaku's head and noticed Tamari readying her fan and Kankuro unwrapping his bundle, revealing a puppet. Great, a puppet user. Just my luck, Naruto thought. His eyes didn't look so good. He cursed himself for not training his eyes further so he could use the techniques Kurama told him. "You made me feel alive, Uzumaki!" Shukaku yelled, but it clearly was Gaara's voice. Crazy bastard, Naruto thought as he launched his free-pronged kunai towards the enemy, but was blocked by Baki's kunai. Baki looked at the kunai and was interested in the design as it was different from the others, until he remembered where he saw them. He remembered the legend that used these kunais to decimate an entire army. "Are these?" Baki wondered before he picked the kunai up with his hands and noticed a kanji on the handle. "Wrong move," Naruto said, for flashing towards the kunai he had previously thrown. All they saw was a yellow flash before Naruto appeared behind Baki and slammed Rasengan onto his back, and he went flying and crashing onto the ground completely out. Naruto ducked under a fan swing from Tamari and gave her a punch to the stomach, making her buckle in pain. Naruto punched Tamari and jumped to the side to avoid a barrage of senbon thrown by Kankuro's puppet. Naruto quickly picked up another kunai and threw it at Kankuro's real body. Kankuro fumbled between his weapons when he saw Naruto throw the same kunai he used to take out a sensei who was a Jonin. Kankuro did the only thing he could think of and jumped away far enough from the kunai's reach. Naruto jumped from the Ichibi as sand was starting to gather around his feet, trying to snare him in place. He approached Baki. He was still alive, although barely. Naruto picked Baki up and quickly stored him in a stasis seal. "What the hell was that?" Kankuro asked with fear clearly splashed in his voice. The blonde in front of them just took out their sensei like he was nothing. "Idiot! Don't you remember the history from the academy?" Tamari asked as she recovered from the blow Naruto delivered her. Seeing Kankuro's oblivious face, Tamari decided to explain. "That technique, that yellow flash, is the same the Yondaime Hokage used that gave him the name of Yellow Flash. He used a technique of his creation that allowed him to teleport to the kunai he threw, and used it to kill almost 1,000 shinobi from Iwa in a flash. He alone won the war," Tamari explained, and Kankuro turned to the blonde who was busy dodging the sand. "I see no history very well," a voice whispered just behind Tamari's ear. She turned her head slightly and was greeted by none other than Naruto. Kankuro could only blink. He was watching Naruto dodge the sand when suddenly he appeared right behind Tamari. "How?" Tamari asked, starting clearly afraid of Naruto. He possessed a technique that allowed the Yondaime to kill an entire battalion of shinobi in an instant. "When I punched you in the stomach, I left my mark on you," Naruto simply replied before giving her a quick chop to the back of her head, knocking her out. He quickly flashed to the ground with an unconscious Tamari and sealed her in a stasis scroll as well. "You bastard," Kankuro growled from the top of the Ichibi before setting his puppet to attack Naruto. "You should be grateful I didn't kill your sister," Naruto said in an emotionless voice. Kankuro simply gazed upon Naruto's blood-red eyes and was starting to feel sleepy. Kai! Kankuro said and flared chakra breaking Naruto's hypnotic eye. Futon! Renkudan! Vacuum wind bullet, Shukaku said before slamming his hand in his stomach and expelling a very large ball of compressed wind. The ball itself was bigger than Naruto himself. Naruto gripped his fan and, channeling chakra through it, he swatted the bullet away, making the ground shake from pressure and power. Naruto jumped to the side to avoid Kankuro's puppet, and he noticed that the puppet's blades were filled with poison. I need to take him out so I can focus on Gaara, Naruto thought before he dashed towards Kankuro's puppet. Naruto used his Sharingan and quickly found the chakra strings Kankuro was using to control his puppet. Naruto channeled chakra through one of his kunai and used to sever the strings, making the puppet fall limp to the ground. Naruto quickly appeared next to the fallen puppet and drove Rasengan to it, shattering to pieces. Bastard, Kankuro said to Naruto as he lost his best weapon. What can you do now? Naruto asked, pissing off Kankuro and making him jump from HB's head and ran straight for Naruto. Naruto smirked, but he noticed how easy it was to rout Kankuro. Kankuro quickly arrived near Naruto and tried a horizontal slash, only for Naruto to duck. Naruto quickly rose up and trapped his arms, disarming him of his kunai. Naruto grabbed him tightly by the arm and flinged him through the air and slammed him onto the ground. Naruto quickly placed his hand onto Kankuro and placed a sleeping seal. Once Kankuro was disabled, he sealed him as well inside a stasis scroll. Now that that's done, it's only you, Naruto said, eyeing Shukaku. Die! Shukaku yelled as he fired a few more wind bullets that in this case were more like the size of people themselves. Naruto slowly dodged them and watched as they collided with the barrier, but it didn't even waver. Good. The barrier is holding even though it's powered by clones, Naruto thought. Naruto analyzed Shukaku and noticed he was very slow. He hadn't moved since he was released, so Naruto would take that as an advantage. Naruto took out a single shuriken. He placed it on his pointer finger on his right hand. Naruto molded wind chakra and slowly expelled it to shuriken. Soon enough, the shuriken started spinning, and around it, the wind started spinning as well, creating a circular saw. Shuriken Wind Blade, Naruto said and threw the shuriken. The shuriken went flying with impressive speed towards Shukaku, who remained in place as his mobility was inexistent. The shuriken arrived near Shukaku, and swiftly and without much trouble it cut right through his arm and severed it completely, and making it fall to the ground. The arm fell limply to the ground and started crumbling away until it remained nothing but sand on the ground. Although Shukaku just had his left arm severed, he didn't seem to be in any type of pain. You entertain me, Uzumaki! Shukaku yelled, and the sand above Shukaku's head started moving and something could be seen popping out. Naruto narrowed his eyes to the figure emerging and saw that it was Gaara himself. Gaara placed his hands on the tiger seal and said, "Play possum jutsu," and promptly fell asleep. Gaara leaned forward and his body went completely limp. Just as Gaara fell asleep, Shukaku's eyes glowed yellow and stayed like that, showing that it was Shukaku who was now in control. I'm free! I'm going to kill you and then destroy everything! Shukaku yelled, as he was happy to be free once again. He looked down and saw Naruto staring at him. Seeing Naruto, Shukaku immediately went into action, trying to crush the blonde and leave the barrier so he could have fun. Futon! Renkudan! Vacuum wind bullets, Shukaku said, and started expelling compressed wind bullets towards Naruto, who was forced to start evasive maneuvers. Naruto watched very carefully as they hit the barrier. He couldn't allow Shukaku to roam free for the village or he would destroy it. Katon! Goryuka no Jutsu! Great dragon fire technique, Naruto said, and unleashed a big fire dragon towards Shukaku. Naruto swung his fan and empowered the flames, making them wider and bigger. The flames were almost the size of Shukaku himself. Shukaku let out a roar and the flames were dispersed into nothing. Shukaku flexed his tail and tried to squash Naruto, but he jumped to his side to avoid it. The tail regressed back, but this time it stayed just above Shukaku's mouth. Suddenly, black and blue chakra could be seen floating in the air and gathered around Shukaku's mouth. The chakra started gathering and compressing itself in a ball just outside Shukaku's mouth. Is that what I think it is? Naruto asked when he watched the ball of chakra form itself very much like Naruto uses Rasengan.
It's a Biju bomb,
and
I don't think your clone-powered barrier can withstand that,
Kurama said. Even though Shukaku was the weakest of the 9, a Biju bomb is still strong. Let's see if this weapon truly lives up to its name, Naruto said before gripping his fan tight. Shukaku stopped gathering chakra in the ball and suddenly fired it with tremendous speed. Naruto watched the purple ball coming towards him. Naruto grabbed his fan and placed it in front of him, his right hand grabbing the hilt while his left hand grabbed the other end. The fan was acting like a shield in front of Naruto. Gaeshi! Reflection, Naruto said just before the bomb hit the fan. The Biju bomb collided with the fan, and at first nothing happened, but suddenly the bomb exploded, but instead of blowing Naruto, it was completely reflected towards the Shukaku. The amount of pressure being put on the fan made Naruto kneel, and the ground beneath him crack, but he was able to withstand the bomb, and the force of the explosion was sent towards Shukaku. Naruto placed the fan on his back and cleaned a bit of sweat that was dripping from the side of his face. That went well, Naruto thought.
Now you believe what I said about the fan?
Kurama said in a sarcastic voice. Yes, now let's end this, Naruto replied, and watched the smoke clear and revealed a fully scorched Shukaku with his right arm missing as well. Naruto concentrated and focused his chakra. Suddenly, right beneath Shukaku, golden chains erupted from the ground and pinned him to the ground. Shukaku was fully trapped. He had chains wrapped around his tail, mouth, and the majority of his body, making him unable to do a single movement. Rat, ox, dog, boar. Naruto went for the hand signs and clapped his hands together. He slammed his right hand on the ground and Kage started flowing out of it and going towards Shukaku and forming a ring around him. 5-point demonic suppression seal, Naruto said, and the kanji started glowing. Shukaku yelled in pain as his chakra was being forced back into the seal. All the shinobi stopped their fighting and looked at the arena where the Shukaku was howling in pain. You are not going anywhere, Naruto said. Naruto reinforced the chains as he could feel Shukaku trying to break them free and get away from the seal. Shukaku's form started to waver and his sand slowly started crumbling and falling back into Gaara. A few seconds later, and there was nothing but a ball of sand floating in the air. The ball of sand was becoming smaller and smaller by the second, when suddenly all the sand disappeared and Gaara fell to the ground, completely unconscious. Naruto approached Gaara and saw his new seal on Gaara's neck. It formed a complete circle around Gaara's main seal. Naruto looked carefully at him and noticed a few irregularities. The main seal had no suppressive seals in it, and no safe hatch. At this point, Gaara's seal was nothing more than an advanced storage seal. This is why Gaara is so unstable, Naruto thought, before approaching him and also placing him in a stasis scroll, putting him with his team. Naruto took a few deep breaths and dropped the barrier while shifting his eyes towards the roof where the Kage's battle was taking place. With Hinata had just received orders from Kakashi and went to join forces with Zabuza so they could bring the pain to the invading forces. Hinata quickly located Zabuza and Haku and jumped towards them. We have orders, Zabuza, Hinata said as she saw Zabuza behead a sound shinobi with his Kubikiri Bocho. Which are, Zabuza asked. We are to group up and start sweeping the streets while evacuating and providing protection to the civilians. When civilians are evacuated, we are to launch a counterattack, Hinata explained. Let's go then, Zabuza said as he placed his blade to his back. They were about to leave when they saw a yellow flash. They narrowed their eyes and saw Naruto just arrive near them. Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, surprised to see him. What are you doing here? She asked. I'm a reinforced clone. Boss sent me to team up with all of you and provide protection to you as well, Naruto explained. And they all nodded. They all withdrew their weapons. Naruto picked up a couple of three-pronged kunai, Haku took out Senbon, and Hinata picked her daggers. They quickly left the arena and made their way towards the middle of the village, indicating the evacuation paths to the civilians. They were about to leave when a group of 10 sound shinobi jumped in front of them. Naruto quickly sensed their chakra levels and they were ordinary chunin. What do we have here? The obvious sound leader asked. A jonin and a couple of kids, he said while the rest of the crew laughed. Obviously these sound shinobi weren't watching tuning exams or they would have seen just what these kids could do. It's time for the flash to resurface, Naruto said, and got confused looks from Zabuza and Haku. He smirked and threw one of his special kunai towards the enemy. They all laughed when the kunai didn't hit anyone and simply landed harmlessly on the ground in the middle of them. Don't blink, Naruto said to his team and disappeared in a yellow flash. All Zabuza was able to see was a yellow flash. Naruto disappeared from view, and when Zabuza saw him once again, all the sound shinobi fell to the ground dead, their throats slashed. That was, Zabuza said, but trailed off as he pieced together who Naruto really was. You are the son of the Kiroi Senko, Yellow Flash, aren't you? Zabuza asked, but the answer seemed pretty obvious. Yes, my father was Namikaze Minato, Konoha's Kiroi Senko, and the Undaime Hokage, and also Uchiha Madara's son, Naruto explained, and got looks of disbelief from Zabuza and Haku, who had their eyes widened. I'm done trying to figure you out, Zabuza said, laughing. Tell me, how long have you been able to use that technique? Zabuza asked. It was a pain in the ass to create the seals. I've been able to use it since I became a genin, Naruto explained. Unbelievable, Zabuza said while shaking his head in disbelief. Let's continue, Zabuza said, and they grouped together and dashed once again for the streets. Hinata, Naruto said, turning to her. Use your Byakugan and see where we are needed. This section is cleared, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded before activating her Byakugan without any seals. She gasped what she saw. The academy is under siege, she said, and got a look of disbelief from Naruto. The academy? He asked incredulously. What about the barrier? He asked. There is no barrier. There are Sound and Sand Shinobi trying to force entry, but Iruka Sensei and a couple other Chunins are holding them off, she explained. Let's hurry then. I can't teleport all of you with the Hirashi since I'm only a clone, and we will take too long if we walk, Naruto said, and got confused looks from the rest of the team. If you couldn't teleport them and they couldn't walk, what else were they going to do? This might feel a bit uncomfortable, Naruto said, before activating his Kamui and sucking Zabuza, Haku, and Hinata into it. He quickly disappeared as well, leaving no trace of either of them. Academy. At the academy, things weren't looking pretty. Iruka and the other teachers were trying to hold off the enemy until Shinobi could arrive, but they wouldn't last much longer. The Chunin that was powering the barrier was tricked when a Sand Shinobi hinged into a Konoha Shinobi and infiltrated the barrier, killing the one powering it. The students were all scared. The enemy managed to collapse the tunnels, leading to the bunkers, and since the barrier was down, the only thing keeping them alive were their teachers that were battling fiercely to protect the lives of their students by preventing the enemy from entering the academy. Iruka, this doesn't look good, one of the teachers said. He was clearly tired. He was swaying from every place and was breathing very hard. Even though he wasn't fatally injured, he was filled with small cuts and bruises from their fight. We can't do much. We must hold until reinforcements arrive, Iruka said. Iruka was also running low on chakra. Even though he was quite skilled for Chunin, a couple of Chunin couldn't fend off 15 Sand Chunins indefinitely. Just give up. You can't win, the obvious elite team leader said, as he watched the teachers breathing heavily. They already managed to kill a couple of teachers, but these two were proving rather difficult. They were managing to keep them at bay by launching long-range fuses and weapons. Iruka, behind you! The other teacher yelled. Looks like the exhaustion was finally catching up to them as the Sand Chunin managed to sneak up on Iruka. Iruka turned his head to see who was behind him when he noticed a kunai going for his throat. Iruka resigned to his fate as he couldn't do anything more to dodge. His chakra reserves were empty and he was tired and running out of weapons. He had his eyes closed and was expecting the pain when he heard, Raikiri! Iruka opened his eyes to see a hand enveloped in line piercing right through the Sand Shinobi's chest. The Shinobi hit the ground dead. He didn't even scream. He was dead the moment Naruto pierced him. Naruto? Iruka said, stuttering. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei. We will take care of the rest, Naruto said before spacing the bend, and from his eyes popped the rest of his team. Zabuza, Haku, and Hinata. What the hell was that, brat? Zabuza asked, feeling a bit disoriented. A space-time ninjutsu similar to my Hirashin. Take care of them while I gather everyone inside the academy and put up a barrier, Naruto said, and the rest of the team dashed to remain 14 shinobi. In less than 5 minutes, every single one of them was dead. Between Hinata's gentle fist, Haku's senbone, and Zabuza's sword, no one stood a chance. My god, Iruka said, stuttering as he watched Hinata fight and sweep the enemy as if they were nothing more than ants. Hinata seemed to be dancing and flowing through the attacks of the enemy. Her Byakugan allowed her to pinpoint and track each enemy. She only needed to touch the enemy once. She honored a traditional style named as a gentle fist. One simple touch and the enemy would fall to the ground dead. Hinata had many to accomplish this. She could open the gate of death, making her heart explode. She could crack the chakra core, destroying the chakra network, killing the enemy. Or if she didn't have access to such places, she would use her Juken with lightning and infusing it through the enemy's network, drying it and killing the enemy. She truly was a goddess of death. Iruka-sensei. What happened to the barrier? Naruto asked, breaking Iruka out of his thoughts. The barrier seals he created weren't supposed to come crashing very easily. It would require a powerful attack to destroy it. One Sand Shinobi hinged into a Konoha one and infiltrated the academy. He also managed to collapse the evacuation tunnels, Iruka explained. I understand. It's very dangerous to evacuate so many students for the middle of the streets, so I'll put up another barrier, Naruto explained, and Iruka sighed in relief. It looked like his students were going to pull through. Zabuza, hold them off while I replace the barrier, Naruto said, and he nodded before his team took defensive stances, watching for any hostile shinobi while Naruto was doing his work. Naruto noticed all the seal tags were destroyed and needed to create new ones. He quickly took out a few empty tags from his storage seals and started writing seals. Iruka just watched in fascination at the speed and quality at which Naruto drew the seals. It obviously proved that Naruto is very skilled in Funjutsu. Naruto quickly finished the tags and Iruka examined them. Each kanji was perfectly drawn. Not a speck of imperfection could be seen. It almost looked like a work of art. Get inside, Naruto said, and Iruka went to collect the other teacher that was unconscious, but not severely hurt. Once inside, Naruto made a shadow clone, and he made his way towards the outside of the academy. He slammed the tag on the wall and said, "Four-corner barrier!" And the yellowish barrier erupted, completely covering the academy grounds. Naruto's clone sat down in lowest position and started concentrating to increase the power of the barrier. The reinforced clone on the outside of the barrier said, "Iruka-sensei, you are safe now. You will continue to look for the village." Naruto turned away to join up with his team and moved to another sector of the village, when they saw a big explosion that rose into the skies. Explosion site minutes earlier. B was running through the streets trying his best to help out where he could. Darui and C teamed up with Omui and Karui and went to grab Yugito at the infirmary. B quickly looked at the horizon and noticed a three-headed snake breaking through the walls of Konoha and starting to wreak havoc through the village. The shinobi were throwing jutsu after jutsu, but nothing seemed to work. "Push him out of the village," one shinobi yelled as they threw explosive kunai towards the snake, but that didn't even scratch the snake as it continued on her path. They were quickly running out of options when they heard what it seemed to be someone rapping, and a lame one at that. "You are going down, fool! You fool! Because I'm the mighty killer B!" B rapped while running through and jumping through the roofs and heading to face the snake. "I'll take care of that worm," B said before fully transforming into his Biju. They're saying the middle of Konoha was a Hachibi. B quickly wrapped the snake with his tentacles and threw it at the air so he couldn't do any more destruction. All of his 8 tails quickly bent over his head, ending just above his mouth. Black and blue chakra was seen gathering around it and compressing it to form a perfect spear. "Biju Dama!" Biju Bomb, B said, and shot the ball towards the snake that was in the air. The moment the ball collided, it immediately exploded in a show of fire and smoke. Seconds later, as the smoke was starting to clear, there was nothing that remained of the snake. He didn't know if she was obliterated or just went back to her real world, but at this point it didn't matter. Konoha was safe for now. "Thanks for the help, B-san," a Konoha shinobi said before picking up an injured comrade and going to the hospital. Konoha's walls. One of Naruto's clones was running through the village, clearing shinobi and helping civilians where he could. Due to him being a center clone, even with his Kamui, it was risky to engage in taijutsu, but he could always rely on ninjutsu, and he was really good at it. "Push them back," Naruto heard a shinobi yelling, and made his way towards him to provide as much help as he could. Even if he was a clone, at least he could be bait for slowing the enemy down. He arrived at the destination and saw a group of Konoha shinobi throwing jutsu and weapons, trying to delay a group of about 200 standard shinobi led by the Kage into the village. However, the group just kept throwing wind jutsu, and having the Kage in there made sure they weren't harmed due to his golden sand dust. It wasn't looking good as the enemy kept coming. If help didn't arrive, it would be a massacre. Naruto arrived at their location and quickly surveyed the area, looking for anyone he might know. His eyes landed on Anko. "Anko, what's happening?" Naruto asked. She looked around to find the annoying blonde. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" Anko asked. "Are you the reinforcements we asked for?" she asked, hoping that the only reinforcements that came weren't Naruto alone. "I wasn't sent by anyone. I'm just a clone. Boss is taking care of the Shukaku to save him," Naruto explained, and Anko stared dumbly at him before scowling. "Just my luck, a fucking clone," Anko said. "If you explain the situation, maybe I could help," Naruto said flatly, trying not to cause many problems, especially in the middle of an invasion. "Very simple. The Kazekages lead 200 shinobi into the village, and we aren't able to slow them down," Anko said, and started Naruto waiting for his miraculous answer. "I think I have the jutsu just for this," Naruto said, smirking, making Anko raise an eyebrow. "But I'm just a clone, so it will take a couple minutes to prepare. Can you hold them off until then?" Naruto asked. "I hope it's worth it," Anko said before yelling, "Hold off for a couple more minutes!" "Hi!" the shinobi that were with her yelled. They were very few in number compared to an overwhelming force of 200 trained shinobi. Naruto sat down in lowest position and clapped his hands together as if praying. He slowly drove them apart a few inches from each other, and sparks started flying between them. He continued concentrating, and after a few minutes, the sparks gathered in a blue spear that was shining. Okay, Anko, it's ready, Naruto said, and Anko turned around to see Jutsu. That's it? A small blue spear, Anko said, not believing her eyes. So much work just for that? No faith, Naruto said, smirking, and launched the ball into the sky. The moment the ball hit the cloud level, it suddenly expanded into a bright flash of light. Everyone stopped and looked up to see what was happening. Just as the light died down, the clouds started gathering, and the sky was getting darker and darker by the moment. Thunder could easily be heard emanating the clouds. Witness my best lightning jutsu, Naruto said, and everyone was focused on him. Naruto channeled lightning chakra to his hand and started sparkling. He sent a beam into the sky, and the thunder seemed to join and gathered into a single massive one. The Kage was watching the sky very carefully, and when he noticed the dragon, he figured it wasn't going to be good for them. Take cover! The Kage yelled his forces, but it was already too late. Raiton! Kirin! Naruto said, and his dragon roared towards the sand shinobi. The Kage tried to block it with his sand, but it was far too slow. He didn't even have time to blink as the dragons appeared in a flash, and the ground where they stood exploded. Everything was ripped apart. Trees, stone, and even the earth itself was destroyed, and where once stood the mighty Kage and his 200 shinobi was nothing more than a 100-meter wide crater. Anko and the other shinobi didn't manage to see what exactly happened. All they saw was a flash of light and the ground exploding. Dust cleared, and there was no one remaining alive. The ones that survived the initial explosion were simply electrocuted and left in ashes due to the power of the thunder. Holy shit, Gaki! Anko yelled, shaking his shoulders and her eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. The reaction of the rest of the shinobi was pretty much the same. They were all busting their asses to keep the enemy away, and Naruto Rise fires a very powerful lightning jutsu, and it's all over, just like that. I told you to have faith, Naruto said, panting. Even though the jutsu didn't take much chakra, the concentration necessary to use the jutsu was very high for a simple clone. I'm dispelling now, Naruto said, and Anko nodded dumbly. So, what now? One of shinobi asked. With the Kages. Edo Tensei, a forbidden technique that summons a soul from the pure world to the world of the living, impure world, in order to do the bidding of the summoner. Besides the moral ramifications, this technique is considered forbidden because it costs a human life to anchor the soul to the world. This technique was invented by Senju Tobirama, the Nandaime Hokage, although the reasons why he did are still unknown. The moment the 4 coffins opened, the shinobi inside were instantly recognized. They were all legends and powerful in their own way. In the first coffin was a tall man with tan skin, dark eyes, and waist-length black hair, typically styled in a center-parted fringe that framed his face. His attire took the form of the standard shinobi dress of his era, consisting of dark red traditional armor similar to that of samurai, worn over a simple black suit. This armor was constructed from numerous metal plates formed into multiple protective guards along his body, in particular chests, shoulders, thighs, and forearms. Each collar of his shoulder guards bore the Senju symbols emblazoned on them. This man was none other than Senju Hashirama, the Shodaime Hokage himself, and the original Shinobi no Kami, god of shinobi. In the second coffin was a woman. She had long, bright red hair and large, pupilless eyes. She wore an elaborate high-color kimono with the Uzushiogaku symbol on the back of the obi, which was tied around her waist. Her hair was arranged in buns with hairpins in them and free clips in the front. She also wore a dark shade of red lipstick and had a violet-colored diamond mark on her forehead. She also wore tags with kanji written on them in her hair decals. She also carried a huge red scroll on her back, similar to Jiraiya. She was Uzumaki Mito, Konoha's Benihime, Red Princess, and the wife of Senju Hashirama. In the third coffin was a tall man, fair-skinned man with white, shaggy hair, dark-colored eyes, and 3 red markings on his face, one under each of his eyes and one on his chin. In most cases, he wore the wartime attire, armor emblazoned with the Senju symbol worn over a simple black suit, with a distinctive white fur collar. This armor was constructed from numerous blue metal plates, formed into multiple protective guards along his body, in particular chest, waist, shoulders, and upper arms. This clothing was accompanied by sandals and a hapuri engraved with the Konoha emblem, in place of the more traditional forehead protector. He was Senju Tomirama, Konoha's Suiro, water dragon, and the Nandaime Hokage of Konoha. In the last coffin was another woman. She had a slender but feminine build, fair skin, blue eyes, crimson hair with strands that framed both sides of her. She was wearing the traditional black anbu pants with white tape around the ankles. Around her chest, she had an anbu chest plate above a simple black suit. She had gloves on each arm that covered her entire arm, almost reaching her shoulders. On her back, a 28-inch long black katana with a red hilt. She was Uzumaki, former Senju, Kushina, Konoha's Akanoshi, Red Death, wife of the Undaime Hokage, but most importantly, mother of Uzumaki Naruto. This isn't good, the Hokage muttered under his breath, and Raikage and Jiraiya couldn't help but to agree. After all, standing in front of them were 4 Kage-level shinobi, not to mention Orochimaru himself. And the fact that being an Edo Tensei provides the shinobi with limitless chakra and immortality didn't help much at all. "Where am I?" Kushina asked as she surveyed her surroundings. The last thing she remembered was saying goodbye to her son. "Edo Tensei?" Tamura asked out loud, snapping Kushina from her thoughts. "That man brought us back with my forbidden technique." Ironic, Tobirama said. Edo Tensei? Kushina thought, as she watched who she was going to fight against. It was a bulky man with blonde hair, so she assumed he would be a Kumo-nin, Jiraiya, and Saratobi Hiruzen. Hiruzen seemed older than what she remembers, so it must have been some time. "Hiruzen!" Kushina called out, getting his attention. "How long has it been?" she asked. 14 years, he replied solemnly. "How is Naruto doing?" she asked. She felt bad for leaving Naruto alone and leaving him with such a burden, but there wasn't any other choice at the time. Even though civilians made his life a nightmare, he still turned out to become a splendid shinobi. You will be proud of him, the Hokage said with a small smile. He even found love, the Hokage said. "That's good. Grandmother always said that to support the hate of being Jinchuriki, I should fill myself with love, right?" she asked, turning towards Senju Mito, who was quiet, observing the redhead. "Kushina-chan?" she asked, not believing her eyes. Her little girl grew so much since the last time she saw her. It was a shame she was already dead, and apparently she left a son behind. "Good to see you again, grandmother," she said, smiling. "Ah, take that, Tobirama. My line continued on while you were always brooding around," Hashirama yelled, pointing towards his brother. "Tsk," Tobirama replied, crossing his arms. Orochimaru remained quiet while they were interacting and found it very interesting that Kushina called Mito her grandmother. "Care to explain why you called Mito your grandmother, Kushina-chan?" Orochimaru asked. "Why should I answer to you? I can't say it worse, but I'm just gonna say edophile," Kushina replied. Orochimaru got pissed and forced his control on her Edo Tensei, forcing her to answer all of his questions. "My true name is Senju Kushina. I'm the daughter of Senju Tsunade and Kato Dan," she replied in monotone. If Orochimaru was surprised, he didn't show it, but he always thought that Tsunade's daughter had died. "Tsunade only had one daughter and she died," Orochimaru replied. He was getting very interested. "My death was fake to stop the CRA from taking place. With me dead and Tsunade leaving the village, we were both safe," Kushina replied, and Orochimaru smirked. Naruto was the perfect vessel. The strength of the Senju body with the power of the Sharingan. "Delicious. He shall be mine," Orochimaru thought. "It really was a bad decision on your part, brother," Hashirama said to his brother regarding the CRA law that was created by Nandaime Hokage. "It was always for the betterment of the village," Tobirama replied. "I don't doubt that, but you are too distant and cold. You are always brooding around like the Uchihas. You need a strong woman to straighten you up," Hashirama said, and Tobirama remained impassive. "Maybe you should set him up with someone, Mito-chan," Hashirama said, turning to his beloved wife, Senju Mito. She didn't age a day since she last saw her, and her beauty remained unparalleled, to him at least. "We are all dead, Hashirama-kun," Mito replied with a deadpan expression. "My bad," Hashirama replied, chuckling and scratching the back of his head in embarrassment. The Hokage, Raikage, and Jiraiya were all watching the interaction with fascination. It saddened the old Hokage's heart to see his former teachers and some of the great shinobi of the Leaf brought back from the dead to serve under a despicable man. "I should have killed him when I had the chance," the Hokage thought with shame. All the evil Orochimaru had brought could have been stopped if he had been strong back then. "Enough talk. Kill them all," Orochimaru commanded, and they all took their stances. Hashirama and Tobirama crouched and took their taijutsu stance. Mito picked the scroll up, and Kushina took out her sword. The Konoha defenders braced themselves for what was coming. "How do you want to do this?" Raikage asked. 5 shinobi against 3 hardly seemed fair to anyone. 5 against 3 doesn't add up very well, Jiraiya said. Don't count me in. I'll just watch for now, Orochimaru said, smirking. I'll take my former teachers. Jiraiya, you will take Mito since she fights with seals, and Raikage will take Kushina, Hokage explained. And they both nodded. Raikage, don't underestimate Kushina. She's almost as fast as you, Hokage explained, and he rose an eyebrow. He knew that Kushina was a very powerful kunoichi, but fast, you will have to see. Hokage's battle with Hashirama and Toriyama and Hiruzen. Get ready, Hiruzen. We can't control our bodies, but we will try and help as we go, Hashirama said. It's a shame to see you in this condition. As Sergeant Hiruzen sent Daime Hokage of Konoha, I shall defeat you both, the Hokage said, as he removed his Hokage robes, revealing the armor underneath. A full-body black suit with mesh armor underneath and steel plates in the arms. The Hokage suddenly started running, heading towards Hiruzen. Hashirama arrived first and tried a spin kick, making Hiruzen crouch to avoid it. Hashirama continues to attack with a few punches, but Hiruzen blocked them all. Hiruzen crouched and tried to sweep his legs, making Hashirama jump up and back. As Hashirama was pushed back, Toriyama jumped into the fray. Toriyama quickly arrived near Hiruzen and jumped over him. Toriyama quickly turned and threw a set of punches trying to catch Hiruzen off guard. Toriyama jumped up and tried a drop kick that Hiruzen caught. Hiruzen spun and threw Toriyama into the air. Even in his old age, Hiruzen was still considered the most powerful man in the village, and this was the proof of it. Managing to hold your own in taijutsu against two Hokages at his old age was no easy feat. My turn now, Hiruzen said, and the Hokages braced themselves for his attack. Hiruzen went through a couple of hand seals and said, Katon, Karyu, Endan, Fire Dragon Bullet, and sent a torrent of fire that engulfed the Hokages. The flames were covering the Hokages completely, but they remained still. A benefit of the Edo Tensei is an immortal body. Hiruzen, seeing that his technique wasn't having any effect, he poured more chakra into it, turned the flames into white hot flames. Tobirama seemed to spike, and Hiruzen's chakra flashed for hand seals. Suiton, Sujin Heki, water wall, Toriyama said, and started expelling water through his mouth that formed a wall around both Hokages, canceling the fire attack. Suiton, Suishoha, exploding water wave, Toriyama said, but instead of using his chakra to create the water like normal users, he simply gathered the moist in the atmosphere and used it to power his attack. The water started soaring around him until he unleashed a massive tsunami heading towards Hiruzen. Doton, Doryu Heki, earth wall, Hiruzen said before spitting out dirt from his mouth. The moment the dirt hit the floor, sprouted into the air, forming a wall to shield him from the impeding tsunami. As the water calmed down, Hiruzen went through another set of hand seals. Doton, Doryudan, Earth Dragon Bullet, and a dragon's head rose from the ground and started shooting multiple globes of earth towards the Hokages. Katon, Karyudan no Jutsu, Fire Dragon Ball, Hiruzen said, and combined the earth's bullets with a fire, turned him into almost lava. The Yoton Lava Cell bloodline allows users to merge earth and fire chakra to create Yoton chakra, and thus use lava attacks. However, anyone can combine the elements externally, however the power is significantly lower. The Hokage started evasive maneuvers to evade the bullets as they were running towards Hiruzen. Hashirama and Kulit arrived near Hiruzen and both engaged in taijutsu battle. As the shinobi code dictates to use every advantage possible, and Hashirama was set to do so. He dipped his feet in water and threw it into Hiruzen's eyes, blinding him momentarily. Hashirama took advantage of his blindness and unleashed a combo of punches and kicks, trying to end Hiruzen permanently. They couldn't control themselves, so they couldn't stop from using low blows. Toriyama jumped into the fight as well. However, Hiruzen didn't go down as easily as they thought. Using the moment at which he received the punches and kicks, he discreetly placed explosive tags on both Hokages. He quickly regained his senses again and broke the taijutsu fight by planting a foot into Hashirama's chest and sent him flying. Kai! Hiruzen said with his right hand in a tiger seal, and both explosive tags detonated, blowing up Hashirama's leg and Tobirama's arm. Now, this would have been enough to kill any shinobi, but the Edo Tensei allowed the body to regenerate. Hiruzen watched in amazement as the leg and arm that were destroyed reformed themselves as if nothing happened. Mokuton, Jukai Koton, Deep Forest Creation, Hashirama said as trees started emerging from the ground, ripping through everything. The tiles, the earth wall, nothing stopped the onslaught of the trees. Hiruzen was forced to take evasive maneuvers, but in the end the trees caught him and snared him by the ankles and arms. Hiruzen forced himself to move under his confinement and bit his thumb, drawing blood. He stretched and placed his hands near a branch of a tree. Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning technique. Hiruzen said, and smoke erupted from where he placed his hand. As the smoke cleared, it showed a figure. His body and tail were covered by white fur, which protrudes from his sleeves and pants. He has long white hair that reached his back and long sideburns and a goatee. He wears a black suit with mesh armor underneath, over which he wears a sleeveless kimono shirt with white fur trimmings and markings reminiscent of tiger stripes on it, which is held close by a sash. He was Enma the Monkey King and boss summon of the Monkey Clan. Orochimaru? I warned you, Enma said, watching Hiruzen trapped in the trees. Let's end him now. Transform into adamantine staff, Hiruzen said. Hi, Enma said, and jumped into a branch and said, Hind, Kungunyoi, transformation, adamantine staff. Enma was engulfed in smoke, and when it cleared, Enma was no longer a monkey, but a staff. The staff quickly crushed the trees and freed Hiruzen from his prison before resting in his hands as he took a defensive stance. Jiraiya versus Senju Mito. Jiraiya gulped as he watched Mito remove the scroll from her back. After all, Mito was Uzumaki, and their sealing techniques weren't to be underestimated in the least. Uzumaki Mito did defeat the Kyuubi when Madara attacked at the Valley of the End and sealed him inside of her without dying. Senju Mito was one of the few combat sealers. As long as she had chakra, her possibilities in battle were endless, and since Jiraiya was a seal master himself, he knew very well the foe he was up against. I wonder if I should use Sage Mode, Jiraiya considered and thought. Jiraiya decided that he shouldn't allow Mito to do anything and rushed her, engaged in taijutsu. Mito, seeing Jiraiya running towards her, quickly placed a scroll on her back and took a defensive stance. Jiraiya arrived near her and threw a set of punches that she easily blocked. Jiraiya tried to sweep her legs, making her jump. While in the air, Jiraiya tried to punch her, but she grabbed his arm, and to support herself, she spun mid-air and delivered a spin kick to Jiraiya. Jiraiya stumbled back, but quickly regained his position. He nursed his neck before going towards her once again. He quickly arrived near and threw a right hook. Her attention was focused on his right arm, opening her defenses for Jiraiya's left hand to slip through and hit her, sending her flying to the ground. She got up as if nothing had happened, and they both rushed each other once again. The moment they arrived near each other, Mito jumped over him. She placed her right hand on Jiraiya's back, applying a seal and jumping away from him. Jiraiya didn't know what happened, and as such discarded the series as unimportant until he saw Mito place her right hand in a tiger seal. Funjutsu, electric seal, activate, Mito said, and the seal on Jiraiya's back glowed and started sending electric shocks through Jiraiya's body, making him buckle in pain until he exploded in a poof of smoke. I figured the moment you touched me, you applied some seal, Jiraiya said, rising from the ground. Ninpao, Kibari Senbone, hair needles, Jiraiya said, and his hair extended before starting to fire hundreds of hair needles towards Mito, who remained in place. Mito spread her hands from each other. From her sleeves emerged two tags, one for each hand. Barrier technique, shock absorption seal, and a golden barrier appeared in front of her, easily blocking all the Senbone. The moment they hit the barrier, it didn't even waver or buckle from the pressure. Jiraiya, seeing his attacks were useless, stopped launching Senbone and decided to try another approach. Katon, Dai Endan, giant fire blast, Jiraiya said before flashing through hand seals and sent a wall of fire towards Mito, who remained impassive to any attack Jiraiya threw. Mito took out sealing attacks, or these seemed slightly different. Barrier technique, chakra absorption seal, Mito said, and what it seemed to be a black hole erupted from between her arms and engulfed the fire attacks, leaving no trace of it. She can absorb chakra as well. Damn, Jiraiya muttered out loud. Mito was a fearsome opponent. She managed to block a physical and chakra-powered attack with nothing more than ink on paper. Mito quickly opened her scroll and turned it towards Jiraiya, who raised an eyebrow in confusion. Bakuryu Geki, Dragon Bomb, Mito said, before a seal from the ground started glowing. Suddenly from the seal, a massive torrent of fire shaped in the form of a dragon's head erupted and headed towards Jiraiya, scorching everything in its path. Doton, Doryu Heki, Earth Wall, Jiraiya said, and a wall of earth rose from the ground to shield Jiraiya from the incoming flames. That fire attack had a very large reach, and Jiraiya wouldn't be able to dodge in time. The flames connected with the wall, but it was strong enough to withstand the pressure. Can't believe I'm getting my ass kicked by someone who isn't even using ninjutsu, Jiraiya thought, shaking his head in shame. Doton, Yami Numa, Underworld Swamp, Jiraiya said, as the ground beneath Mito suddenly liquefied, making her fall into the swamp, burying half her body. The earth quickly hardened, trapping her. Jiraiya suddenly appeared above her and yelled, "Rasengan!" as he drove a blue chakra spear right through Mito's chest, destroying everything around it, even the ground. Since Mito had her arms trapped in the swamp, she couldn't block or dodge the attack. Jiraiya jumped back and was watching the cloud of dust starting to settle. He narrowed his eyes as he watched Mito's chest starting to reform. A few seconds later, and it was as if nothing had ever happened. Jiraiya was so focused on watching Mito reform that he didn't notice three of Mito's Kage Bunshin suddenly surround him, making a triangle around him. They all pulled a tag that seemed to float in the air. Sealing trap, chakra drain seal, all of the three clones shouted in union, and a triangular, red-colored barrier erupted, trapping Jiraiya inside and starting to drain his chakra. She's stealing my chakra. And fast, Jiraiya thought, as he was starting to feel the chakra drainage. If he couldn't get out, he would be out of chakra in mere minutes. Jiraiya started forming a Rasengan, but noticed that it was being absorbed as well. He needed to create a large Rasengan used quickly so Mito didn't have time to absorb it. Udama Rasengan, giant Rasengan, Jiraiya said, before making a Rasengan twice as big as the normal Rasengan. He quickly slammed the Rasengan on the ground, and the ground exploded upwards, breaking the barrier and the clones as well. Jiraiya cleaned a bit of sweat and jumped back to gain some distance from Mito. Raikage versus Kushina. Who are you? Kushina asked. Why do you want to know? The Raikage asked, genuinely surprised from that question. Even though I hold no love for Kumo, I wish to know the name of my opponent, Kushina explained. I'm a Yondaime Raikage, the Raikage said, and Kushina nodded. Shall I begin? Kushina said before gripping her sword and making Raikage smirk. Perhaps this wouldn't be such a bad fight after all. They both dashed towards each other. The Raikage had yet to activate his light armor as he wanted to get a feel for Kushina's power, so he kept it at elite Jonin speed. Irubo, elbow, the Raikage said as he reached near Kushina. He flexed his elbow to hit her. Kushina swiftly ducked under him and brought the hilt of her sword upwards, slamming it against Raikage's chin and putting a kick to his chest, sending him flying. Dragon dive, Kushina said before flexing her blade and pointing her towards Raikage. Kushina charged her body with chakra before exploding towards Raikage at very high speeds, but the Raikage wasn't the fastest man alive for nothing, and managed to deflect it, although barely. Raikage, seeing Kushina so up close, charged at her and said, Lariat, and tried to slam his right arm into Kushina's neck, destroying it. Kushina simply bent her body backwards and allowed the arm to pass above her without touching her. The moment the Raikage's arm had safely passed above Kushina, she quickly rose up once again. She jumped into the air and using Raikage's arm as leverage, she snared his head between her legs. She tilted down, placed her hands on the ground for leverage once again, and slammed the Raikage onto the ground hard and jumped back to gain some distance. Enough of this child's play, the Raikage said before his chakra spiked and his body was enveloped in a blue cloak that was sparkling with electricity everywhere. This is Raikage's most powerful technique, the Raiten no Yoroi, lightning armor. A technique that, by channeling lightning chakra through the synapses and the external body, it improves the user's reaction time, overall speed, and defenses. Kushina, seeing her opponent using the fabled Raiten no Yoroi, knew she needed something that allowed her to keep up with what will be his new speed. Her husband managed to avoid Ace's fastest strike by using his Hirashin, but she didn't have that at her disposal. Kushina began focusing and channeled wind chakra for her external body. Futon no Yoroi, wind armor, Kushina said. By surrounding her body with wind chakra, she can cut down the wind resistance, increasing her overall speed. However, this technique doesn't protect her from anything like the Raikage's. The Raikage disappeared in a blink of an eye and appeared just above Kushina. Girochin Doropu, guillotine drop, the Raikage said, and tried to perform a drop kick on Kushina. However, Kushina, due to her wind armor, managed to jump away and avoid the kick that shattered the ground. Wind slash, Kushina said, and she reappeared in an instant where the Raikage destroyed the ground. Channeling wind chakra through her blade, she performed a horizontal swing, and Raikage just had enough time to tilt his head as the blade passed right above his head, cutting a few strands of hair. The Raikage quickly recovered and jumped away. As he landed, he noticed a few drops of blood fall to the ground. He placed his hand on his head and he looked at it, and he noticed a bit of blood. Even with my light armor, she managed to cut me, the Raikage thought. It was bad luck in the end. The only thing that can beat lightning is wind. The Raikage was looking carefully at Kushina before she poofed in smoke. He looked around just in time to see Kushina reappearing next to him, trying to horizontal slash across his chest. The Raikage, using his lightning reflexes, caught the blade with his bare hands and slammed a kick into Kushina's chest, and she was sent tumbling to the ground. The Raikage had enough of this. He had to end the battle fast so he could go and help the others' battles. He focused and brought his light armor to full power, making it sparkle even more, and his hair became spikier. Kushina was looking at him when he suddenly disappeared. She didn't have enough time to blink as the Raikage reappeared next to her. He grabbed her by the waist and said, "Raiga Bomu, Liger Bomb," and slammed her into the ground, completely tearing her apart and blowing up the ground into smithereens. Raikage jumped and smirked in victory until he noticed that Kushina's body was reforming. A few seconds later, she was standing in front of her as if nothing had happened. Damn that Edo Tensei, Raikage thought as he was considering what he could use to end this despicable technique. Kushina walked forward and placed her hand on the ground, touching Raikage's blood from one of his injuries that Kushina managed to inflict. Kushina spread the blood through her hands and flashed through her hand seals before slamming both hands on the ground. "Funjutsu, gravity well," Kushina said, and kanji erupted from her hands and spread through the area where they were fighting. In less than 2 seconds, the whole area was covered. The Raikage rose an eyebrow in confusion, but when he saw Kushina activate the seal, he almost fell to the ground. The gravity in that area was increased almost 5 times. "She's trying to slow me down. Smart," the Raikage thought. "Infinite blade," Kushina shouted before she disappeared from view. Suddenly, the Raikage's skin bursted in blood, revealing shallow cuts covering all of his body. The Raikage buckled in pain, but these sore wounds wouldn't slow him down. "Raiton Ningu, Sutoreto," lightning straight, the Raikage said, before dashing straight forward towards Kushina with his fist cocked. The only person to ever evade this attack was Kushina's husband, Namikaze Minato, but due to the gravity field, the Raikage was slower, and Kushina easily dodged it, jumping to the side. "Enough of this," Raikage roared before jumping high into the air and saying, "Drop kick," and slammed his feet onto the ground, vaporizing all the tiles around the impact, and completely disrupting his seal matrix, making Kushina drop the gravity field. They were about to jump at it once again when all of them heard a piercing scream from the middle of the arena. All of them stopped their battles and regrouped, shifting their attention to the arena floor where Shukaku was dealing pain as he was having his chakra suppressed. "This chakra. It's Shukaku," Torana said, as he was one of the most talented censors to ever live. "No doubt," Hashirama replied. "Looks like Naruto came through," Jirai said, and the old Hokage nodded. "What do you mean, Naruto came through?" Kushina asked in a very sweet voice, making all the males gulp and take a step back. "Did you put my Sochi-san against a Biju?" she asked, slowly grasping her sword. Now, Kushina. He was the one that chose to face the Ichibi," the Hokage tried to reason with her. "Besides, from the looks of it, it looks like he won," the Hokage said. Jirai didn't say anything. He still remembered the beating he took when he tried to spy on her and Minato. Not even Orochimaru himself said anything, as he still remembered all the broken bones he had when he said that Kushina looked fat. "He's approaching," Tobirama said, and they all noticed a figure arrive near the roof. Naruto jumped up and faced right for the barrier as if it wasn't even there. "How the hell did that punk pass through the barrier?" Taiyo yelled. "How should I know?" Sakon replied. "Hey, old man, need a hand?" Naruto asked before he analyzed the situation. He looked around and saw what Orochimaru had done, but his eyes were fixed on the red-haired woman. "Kason, mother," Naruto said in a low voice, but everyone heard him. "Naruto-kun," Kushina said and ran towards her son, but Orochimaru forced his control over her, making her stop on her tracks, tears running from her eyes. "You dare summon my family! You are going to pay, Orochimaru," Naruto said and flared his Sharingan, making it slowly shift into his Mangekyo. His eternal displayed for the first time to the world without any Genjutsu hiding it. Orochimaru was shocked when he noticed a shift in Naruto's eyes, and he felt something he hasn't felt in a long time. Fear. "Is that?" Hashirama asked, pointing towards a fan on Naruto's back. "It's my grandfather's fan, Hashirama Jiji," Naruto said, smirking, and Hashirama's and Tobirama's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. "Madara had a son?" Hashirama said, not believing his ears. He didn't see that one coming. "Yes, you did a wonderful job killing him at the Valley of the End," Naruto said. "What?" Hashirama yelled. "He survived?" Hashirama asked, and Naruto nodded. "Ironic, don't you think?" Naruto asked, and Hashirama got confused. "To think the sense of you two would fall in love," Naruto said. Hashirama and Tobirama chuckled at the irony before they focused their attention on the blonde and noticed his eyes. "A Mangekyo?" Tobirama asked, and sensed his chakra levels making his eyes widen. "His chakra levels are through the roof. They are on par with lower class Bijus. How in the world?" Tobirama said, but Hashirama interrupted him. "I sense the Kyuubi's chakra in him. It looks like he's new Jinchuriki," Hashirama said, and Tobirama nodded as it made sense. It's good to see that my legacy lives on, Hashirama said. Naruto, don't go in blindly. They can't be defeated by ordinary means, Hokage said. I know how the Edo Tensei works, Gigi, Naruto said, and Kushina smiled at the affectionate name he had for the third. At least he wasn't alone. How do you know it? It's forbidden technique, Hokage asked suspiciously. Remember when I found Orochimaru's abandoned laboratory? Naruto asked, and Hokage nodded. In there, I found blood samples, as well as Orochimaru's notebook on the Edo Tensei, Naruto said. The reason I know how it works very well is because I can use it as well, Naruto said, and everyone's eyes widened at that statement. Naruto, Hokage asked with a hard voice. I hope you didn't use it. I would never sacrifice someone's life to bring back anyone, even if it was my family, Naruto said, and Hokage sighed in relief. There are 3 ways to defeat an Edo Tensei, Naruto said, getting their attention. 1. We can seal the soul away, thus disabling the Edo Tensei permanently. 2. We can vaporize the body completely, thus stopping from reforming. Or 3rd, since I know the seals, we can force the summoner to end the Edo Tensei himself, Naruto explained, and they frowned. Either way, it was going to be difficult. Arrow Sanin, Naruto said. Stop calling me that, Jiraiya, and everyone's sweat dropped. How could they do this in the middle of a fight? Kushina just laughed as she had called him the same name when she was alive. I can't use any Genjutsu strong enough to force Orochimaru to release the Edo Tensei. So, do you know any sealing technique besides the Shiki Funjin? Naruto asked. Yes, but it will take time to prepare, Jiraiya said, and Naruto nodded. We will hold them until then, Naruto said, and everyone rose an eyebrow at that statement. Don't worry, Kasan. I'm freeing you from Orochimaru's grasp. Now, shall we dance? Naruto asked, smirking, and grasped the fan on his back. He always wanted to face against powerful opponents and didn't get any more powerful than Hokage's. Flashback fell at the end. Hashirama and Madara were facing each other, getting ready to start their duel. I'll say it one last time, Madara. Forget this path, Hashirama said as he looked at his old friend. There is no turning back, Hashirama. Now, shall we dance? End the flashback. Hashirama chuckled at the similarities between Naruto and Madara. It looked like Madara's blood was running strong through his veins, more strongly than Hashirama's own blood. Old man, give me fire, Naruto said to Hokage, and he nodded. Gatan, Karyu, Endan. Fire Dragon Mode, Hokage said, explaining a torn of white hot fire towards Orochimaru. Gatan, Goryuka no Jutsu, Great Dragon Fire Technique, Naruto said, before he also started to expel his own stream of fire. He quickly picked up his fan and swung it, empowering the flames with wind. An inferno was unleashed towards Orochimaru, but they all remained in place. Tobirama clapped his hands together and water started rotating around all of them before exploding towards the incoming flames. A huge cloud of steam erupted, blinding everyone except Naruto, who, due to his Sharingan, managed to see the chakra of everyone. Taking advantage of the cloud of steam, Naruto quickly threw towards them the last 10 kunais he had with the Hirashin seal. The cloud dispersed and everyone remained in the same place, not moving an inch. Suddenly Hashirama started going through hand seals and said, Mokuton, wood spikes. Suddenly a tree sprouted from the ground and started sending wood spikes towards Naruto and company. Naruto channeled chakra to his gunbai and said, Gunbai Barrier Technique. A semi-circular purple barrier appeared mid-air, intersecting all of the wooden spikes, making them fall to the ground. They were all distracted and defending. They didn't notice Kushina blur right through them, heading towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya, behind you! Hokage yelled as Kushina appeared right next to Jiraiya, trying to cleave his head off. Raigage powered his right no Yoroi and dashed at the top of his speed towards Kushina. He wasn't going to arrive in time when they all saw a yellow flash appearing right next to Jiraiya and slammed Rasengan into Kushina. Arrow-sanin, quick! Seal her while she's reforming, Naruto yelled out, making Jiraiya hurry and place one of his finished tags on Kushina's body. You did well, Naruto-kun. I'm sorry we left you all alone, but we loved you very much. I'm proud of you, Kushina said as her Edo Tensei was starting to crack, indicating her soul was about to be released. Thank you, Kasan, Naruto said, sobbing. He usually never let his emotional guard to anyone other than his more trusted people, but this one was an exception. Kushina was starting to fade away before Naruto approached her and whispered something to her ears, only bringing a smile to her face before fading away completely. You are going down, Orochimaru, Naruto said, glaring at the snake. That was... Raikage started saying before everything fell into place. You are Mito's brat, aren't you? Raikage asked rhetorically. Yes, I am. And by the way, Mito was Madara's son, Naruto said, and the first two Hokages widened their eyes. Who would have thought that Madara's son would have become Hokage? Enough of this! Kill them, Orochimaru ordered, and they all dashed towards the Leaf Defenders. Jiraiya, how are the attacks coming along? Hurry up, will you? The Hokage asked. Give me a break. These aren't easy to make, Jiraiya stated. Here they come, the Raigage said before taking a defensive stance. Let's end this, Raigage said, trying to boost the morale. Naruto dashed towards Hashirama engaged in taijutsu. Naruto had dropped the weights a long time ago as he wanted to keep up with the Kages. So, this is the power of a Kage. I need to step up my training, Naruto said as he was being pushed back by Hashirama's raw power. Hashirama threw a right hook that connected with Naruto and left him slightly dazed. Naruto's Kamui activated just in time to see Orochimaru's extended neck facing right through him. What the hell are you doing, Edophile? Are you trying to give me a hickey? Naruto smugly asked, trying to piss him off. You shouldn't rile him up, the Hokage said, chuckling at his surrogate grandson. I haven't already, Jiraiya said, and Naruto nodded. Naruto channeled as much chakra as he could into his body and sent a kick towards Orochimaru and sent him flying. Naruto used his Kamui phase right through Hashirama and jumped back. Naruto crouched and concentrated. Golden chains emerged from the ground and snared Hashirama into the ground. The chains twisted around his ankles, snaring him to that spot. Raikage! Naruto yelled out before Raikage abandoned his fight with Tobirama and charged at full speed, and he said, Lariat! The Raikage dashed towards Hashirama, who was pinned at full speed, slamming his arm into him, destroying his chest completely. Jiraiya quickly appeared next to him and placed the ceiling tag on Hashirama, breaking him free. The village is in good hands. I hope we meet again, Naruto. Although, not too soon, Hashirama said, smiling as his soul was released. The village is in good hands. He could sense that Naruto had a pure heart, and that the will of fire burned brightly in him. That's 2 down, Naruto said, panting. Even though Kurama could refill his chakra reserves at any time, and he had good stamina, this invasion was taking its toll on his body. He already had 2 matches, one against Ibiju, he made 2,000 clones, and now he's fighting here against Kages. You now, old man, Naruto said towards Hokage, panting. If I don't make chewing after all this, I'm gonna burn all of your Icha books, Naruto said, and the Hokage paled. You see there, the Hokage said, waving his hands. During all of this, Orochimaru was grating his teeth. Everything was going so well until the brat appeared, and then his Edo Tensei started falling like flies. Now they were in an advantage as it was 4 against 3, and the worst part of it is that he couldn't afford to kill the brat. Orochimaru decided that enough was enough and spat his sword out of his mouth. It was a Kusanagi sword that is said to be indestructible. Then again, so is Naruto's fan. Suddenly, Naruto stiffened and brought his head down in shame. The Hokage seemed confused and asked what happened. The Kage is dead, Naruto said, and Orochimaru's eyes widened. The Kage was supposed to invade the village with a small army and take it by surprise. What happened? Hokage asked. He was leading 200 shinobi towards us, so I launched my Kirin Jutsu and killed them all, Naruto said in a low voice. He had just killed over 200 people with a single jutsu. Even though he was defending his village, those shinobi were just following orders from their leader, Orochimaru himself. The Hokage's eyes widened as well as everyone else's. To be able to kill so many shinobi with a single jutsu, it reminded him of his father, the Yellow Flash, who used his Hirashin jutsu to decimate almost 1,000 shinobi during the Third Great War. To place such guilt on such a young man, the Hokage thought. War never brought benefits to anyone, and this little invasion was proof of that. That must be one hell of a jutsu, the Raikage commented, slightly interested in it. The ability to instantly take out so many shinobi easily ranked the jutsu as S rank. The next tag is Rage, Jiraiya said, and they got ready once again. I won't allow this anymore. Mito, use anything. Use your strongest seal. I don't care. Just finish them, Orochimaru ordered, and Mito obeyed. Mito instantly started going through hand seals at very high speed, indicating that it was going to be one big sequence, and big sequences usually aren't good. Jiraiya was watching carefully at the seal sequence when his eyes widened in realization. You can't allow her to finish that seal! Stop her now! Jiraiya yelled, but it was too late. Sealing trap. Obliteration, Mito said, and instantly kanji erupted from her hands and covered the entire roof where Jiraiya and the others were. The kanji suddenly started flowing through the air, trapping Jiraiya and the others in a spear. Activate, Mito said, and the kanji spear glowed before exploding with such a force that the entire building shook, but the explosion flames didn't leave the spear and remained there for a few seconds. The flames died down, and the kanji faded, dispersing the spear. Orochimaru smirked when the smoke cleared as he saw nothing inside the spear. He couldn't even sense them anymore, so that could only mean that he won. In the end, Konoha shall perish as well, Orochimaru said, laughing, and Edo Tensei looked down in shame. Don't get cocky, boy, Raikage said, and they all reappeared on the rooftop via Naruto's Kamui. Naruto by this time was sitting on the ground taking long breaths. How did you survive? Orochimaru asked, getting pissed. No matter what he did, they always managed to escape. You have Naruto to thank for it, the Hokage said, looking at him. He transported all of us to his pocket dimension just before the explosion happened, the Hokage said, chuckling. Orochimaru scowled. You really are one of a kind, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru said, chuckling. Such a perfect vessel, he said. I don't swing that way, Naruto said, chuckling. I have both tags ready, let's end this for good, Jiraiya said before everyone agreed. This battle had gone on long enough, and Naruto was almost completely exhausted. I'll make my final move, Naruto said before you disappear in a flash. He reappeared right behind Tobirama and slammed Rasengan onto his back and sent him flying towards Hokage, who caught him and immobilized him, lying dry to seal him. You did well, Saru, Tobirama said before disappearing. Thank you, Sensei, Hokage replied. You are next, Naruto whispered into Minato's ear as he flashed behind her as well. Rasengan, Naruto said, and slammed against Minato, destroying her body completely. Jiraiya quickly approached her and placed his tag on her, releasing her as well. Now it's only Orochimaru, the Hokage said. Konoha may have survived today, but it shall fall, Orochimaru said as he was getting ready to leave. You are not going anywhere, Naruto said as he flashed next to him and grabbed him by the arm. The moment Naruto caught Orochimaru, kanji started flowing out of Naruto's arm. Orochimaru, seeing this, immediately performed a kawarimi with a log, but the kanji did manage to cover his entire right arm. This is the end, Naruto said before placing his right hand in the tiger seal. Activate, Naruto said, and almost instantly the kanji glowed and what seemed to be the worst pain Orochimaru had ever felt. This one was even worse. Orochimaru was screaming in pain until the seal started to fade off and disappear from his arm. What did you do, brat? Orochimaru asked. His arm felt normal, however it was a bit numb from the pain. I destroyed the chakra network on your arm. You can no longer mold chakra with that arm. You lose, Naruto said, smirking. This won't be the end. Drop the barrier. We are leaving, Orochimaru ordered, and immediately the Sound Four dropped the barrier and ran towards their master. They grabbed him and tried to jump away. You aren't going anywhere, Naruto said before he summoned his golden chains and tried to capture them, but one of the Sound Four launched what seemed to be a spider's web, giving them enough time to Shunshin away. Damn it! They got away, Naruto said, punching the ground. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. We will get him, eventually, the Hokage said. All of them were taking deep breaths as they overlooked Konoha. It seemed that the village didn't take much damage and Hokage was glad for it. Naruto suddenly clutched his head in pain. Old man, the invasion's over and my clones are dispelling, so I'll be fine now. See you tomorrow, Naruto said as his eyes rolled behind his head and he fell to the ground only to have the Hokage grab him. Rest now, Naruto. You did much more than I could have ever hoped for, the Hokage said as he picked Naruto up and secured him on his back. That's some kid, the Raigage said. Yes, he is, Jiraiya said, proud of the shinobi his godson became. And that is the end of Chapter 23, Invasion. Pretty good chapter, and now we'll move on to Chapter 24, which is Aftermath. So, we will now begin. Chapter 24, Aftermath. Konoha proved once again why it was considered the strongest of the elemental nations. Konoha was pitted against two other villages, one of them being one of the top 5, and yeah, Konoha came out victorious. However, in war, no victory is without sacrifice, and as such, Konoha lost a few shinobi whose names would forever be engraved in a memorial stone. Naruto was slowly regaining consciousness and opened his eyes only to be blinded and brought his hand to cover them. He slowly adjusted to the light and looked up to see a white ceiling. He took the scent of the place and it smelled like disinfectant. Great, I'm in the hospital, Naruto mumbled to himself and tried to rise but felt a weight on his chest. He looked down and saw a mop of dark blue hair that belonged to Hinata. She was curled up against him with her head on his chest, drooling. It was a funny sight to see. He chuckled and softly shook Hinata, trying to awake her. She began to stir and open those white eyes that Naruto loved so much. She rubbed them to shake off her sleepiness and took her surroundings to find Naruto's deep blue eyes staring at her. Comfortable? Naruto asked with an amused smile. Very much, thank you, Hinata replied and tried to bury her face closer to his chest. How long have you been here? Naruto asked. I didn't want to sleep alone at the house, so I infiltrated the hospital after hours so I could cuddle with you, Hinata said, slightly blushing, and Naruto chuckled. How is everyone doing? Naruto asked, sitting up and stretching his arms. Everyone we know is fine, but the village just suffers casualties, Hinata explained, looking down. I understand, Naruto said. He gently grabbed her chin, making her lock eyes with her. Cheer up, Naruto said, and slightly kissed her on the lips. The quick kiss became a hot makeout session with Naruto leaning against the wall and Naruto straddling him and holding him by his neck. Oh yeah, this is golden. Ryu tries to cheer up his lover by kissing her deeply, his hands feeling her soft skin. Moments later, his hands start roaming down, eliciting a small moan of bliss from Hiromi. Dry said out loud as he was scribbling furiously on his notepad. This kid will be even better than his father, Dry continued on writing as a small trickle of blood fell from his nose. What are you doing, Dry-sama? Dry looked up to see Hinata with a very sweet smile on her face. Dry paled at that particular smile, and he could swear he saw a visage of the Shinigami behind her. Have mercy, Dry said, pleading. Not today, Dry-sama. Not today, Hinata said before her Byakugan flared. Secret technique. 1,000 years of pain, Hinata said, and empowering her fingers to chakra, she slammed them right into Dry's butt, sending him flying into Naruto's room and crashing into the wall. Naruto was wondering what this commotion was until he saw his pervert of a godfather flying into his room. Dry crashed into the wall and fell to the ground, crying anime tears with his ass smoking. Hinata approached the pervert, who recoiled in fear as she approached. She quickly found his notebook and threw it in the air and burnt to ashes with a small katon jutsu. This particular katon jutsu was taught her by Kurenai, who burned every icha she found. No! Dry yelled, crying as he watched his previous work turn to ashes. Naruto just chuckled the antics of his godfather, who was now getting back to his feet while nursing his precious butt. How are you doing, Gaki? Dry asked. I'm good. I just had chakra exhaustion. I'm good as new, Naruto replied. Good. Dry replied as he saw the ash of his notebook fly out the window and sunk his head. Naruto looked around, and when he didn't see it, he decided to ask Jiraiya. Arasani, Naruto gained a thick mark from Jiraiya. Have you seen my fan? Naruto asked. I have it right here, Dry said, and took out a scroll from his back and unsealed his fan. Dry picked it up and Naruto raised an eyebrow. Dry saw the surprised face of Naruto and asked what was wrong. I'm just surprised you can lift the weapon so easily. Do you realize that thing eats a lot of chakra? Naruto said, and Dry sensed his chakra and noticed he was almost 20% missing. This thing just ate a fifth of my chakra just by picking it up? How can you use it? Dry asked, confused as he placed a fan near his bed. That fan was created by the Rikudo Sanin, and only a descendant from him can use his weapons without the massive chakra drain, Naruto explained, and Dry nodded. There are only 2 people left in this world that can use these weapons. Me and my grandmother, Naruto said. Speaking of which, Saratobi-sensei told me to take you both to his office when you woke up, Dry said, and Naruto nodded. Dry called a nurse over so she could do a quick checkup on Naruto, and allowed him to leave. He's completely back to normal. You can go, the nurse said, and Naruto jumped off the bed. He quickly got dressed, picked up his fan, and placed it on his back, and they all left towards the Hokage tower. Naruto, Dry called, and Naruto focused his attention on him. Can't you Hirashin us to the tower? Dry asked, and Naruto's sweat dropped. His father's S-rank space-time technique that he used to decimate a battalion was reduced to transportation. I can, but I won't. I want to stretch my legs, Naruto said, and Dry pouted. They were calmly walking through the streets without a care in the world. Naruto got so caught up in his thoughts he didn't notice the road ahead of him, and crashed into a civilian, knocking him to the ground and making Naruto recoil a bit. When a civilian noticed who he crashed into, quickly he rose up and bowed to Naruto before he could even apologize. My apologies, Uchiha-sama, the civilian said, and everyone raised an eyebrow. Uchiha-sama? Naruto asked, and the civilian flinched. Hi, the civilian replied, slightly fearful. Figures, Naruto thought. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, for now anyways, and you don't have to bow to me. I hold no grudge against any of you, Naruto said, and the civilian sighed in relief. He didn't want to piss off the grandson of Uchiha Madara himself, even more after what he heard Naruto did during the invasion. Thank you, Naruto-san, the civilian said and left. That was interesting, Dry said, and Hinata nodded. Indeed, maybe they'll stop shouting demon everywhere I go. That's always a plus, Naruto said, and looked at the other civilians walking in the streets, but the looks Naruto used to receive weren't there anymore. In the beginning, they held hatred. After he showed them the Kyuubi, they held fear, but now they seem to hold respect and admiration. Hokage Tower. They all arrived at Hokage Tower and went through the doors to see the old Hokage giggling like a madman with blood trickling from his nose while he had a few Kage Bunshins working on his paperwork. The Hokage giggled once more, and Naruto's sweat dropped, only to see Hinata disappear in the blur and snatch the Hokage's book and destroying it with the same Katon Jutsu. Are all men perverts? Hinata asked out loud and got a sigh from the Hokage. How are you feeling, Naruto-kun? The Hokage asked. Naruto outdid himself against the Kages. It isn't every day we see a 14-year-old boy hold his own against Kage level shinobi. I'm good as new, Naruto replied. Now, let's get down to business, Hokage said as his clone dispelled and he took his seat behind his desk. Oh, by the way, Gigi, Naruto said, getting Hokage's attention. Did you take the scroll I had with me? Because I had Gaara and his team sealed in there, Naruto said. Yes, don't worry, they're all in lockdown paying negotiations with the Sand, Hokage explained. And what is the Sand saying? Jiraiya asked. It's up to the council now, since the Kazekage died in the invasion and they took a very heavy blow. They came at us with a full battalion of almost 1,000 shinobi, and they can't risk war against us, so they will comply with our demands, Hokage explained. What did you ask? Naruto asked. Financial compensation for damage dealt to the village, and we are keeping Gaara as an arch Turkey and their team should they choose to stay as well, the Hokage said, and Naruto raised an eyebrow. I know you may not like it, but the Bijus dictate the power shifts in the villages. Until now, we only had the QB. Now we have two if Gaara decides to turn friendly to our side, the Hokage said. Naruto brought his hand to his chin and fought and replied, he might. He holds no love for his village as he was treated like me. Good, Hokage replied. Now that with Sand like Kumo and Iwa both having two Bijus. The Leaf never prided themselves on making weapons such as Jinchurikis and proved it many times. They won 3 world wars by having extremely skilled shinobi and not relying on the Jinchurikis to do their work. But before that, we should fix Gaara's seal, Naruto said, and Jiraiya rose an eyebrow in confusion. After I placed my demonic suppression seal on Gaara, I noticed some irregularities. The seal that holds Shukaku was designed for inmate objects. It's nothing more than an advanced sword seal, that is why Gaara is so unstable. It is probably also affecting Shukaku, Naruto explained, and Jiraiya nodded. We will take care of that later, but now I have other concerns, Hokage explained, before taking out a file and handing it to Naruto to read. What's this? Naruto asked as he picked the file up and started reading it. The report on how good Uchiha Sasuke did during the invasion, based on what Kakashi and other shinobi saw, the Hokage explained. Invasion report. Name, Uchiha Sasuke. Team affiliation, Team 7 under Hatake Kakashi. Rank, Genin. Team assigned, Orochimaru and Haruno Sakura. Description. Sasuke displayed a high-level amount of skill and responsibility by taking charge of a gang team and provided crucial assistance in the civilians' evacuation as well as defeating multiple Chunin-level shinobi from both the Sand and the Sound. Recommendation, promotion to Chunin. Okay, now what? Naruto asked, slightly confused as to why the Hokage was showing this. I want yours and not his opinion on this, Hokage explained. Why us? Naruto asked. You are friends with him and know him better than anyone else, Hokage said. Friends is a very strong word, Naruto said, sighing before pulling his thoughts together. I have no doubt that Sasuke is strong enough for Chunin. It's just his attitude that endangers this. If he does get promoted, his ego will skyrocket, and he might start some conflict if someone of the same rank is chosen as leader, Naruto reasoned. On the other hand, not promoting him will just enrage him even more, as he will think that the village is holding him back, and with Orochimaru's offering of power, he might be a flight risk, Naruto finished his explanation. What about you, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. I agree with you. He's too focused on revenge, and both choices have drawbacks. However, promoting him and placing him with a strong leader will solve these problems, Naruto replied, and Hokage nodded in comprehension and would take this later on with the council. I will take it into consideration. Now, on to the next matter, and this relates to you, Naruto, the Hokage said, and Naruto focused on him. I'm too old for this job. I should have stayed retired, but when your father died, I was forced to take back the hat, the Hokage said, sighing. This invasion was proof of that. I'm no longer strong enough to lead this village, and as such, I chose a successor, the Hokage explained. Are you giving the hat to the pervert? Naruto asked offhandedly and got a smack on the head from Jiraiya. I'm not a pervert. I'm a super pervert, Jiraiya said. The Hokage forced a cough to silence the bickering duo. I would have asked him, but he would have refused, the Hokage said, and Jiraiya nodded as it was true. His spy network was of too much importance to the village, and besides, he wasn't the type of man to be strapped behind a desk 8 hours a day. Now, this brings the main reason I asked Jiraiya to bring you in, the Hokage said, but before he continued, Naruto interrupted him. You were making me the Hokage? Naruto asked with a disbelieving look. Not yet, I'm afraid, the Hokage replied, chuckling. The reason I called you here is because Jiraiya wants you to accompany him into searching for my replacement, Senju Tsunade. The Hokage finished with an amused smirk on his old face. Really? Naruto being thinking of going to search for the last piece of the family he has, even if she doesn't know about him? Yes, although she might be a bit reluctant into coming back to the village, Hokage said, sighing. She hasn't been able to cope with her losses, and she throws herself into drinking and gambling. Don't worry, I'll bring her back to the village. That's a promise, and I never go back on my word, Naruto said. Now, this brings us to the final topic of this meeting, the Hokage said, and Naruto sighed. They had already been here for quite a while, and it seemed it wasn't going to end anytime soon. After this, I'm calling a council meeting to give the promotions. You'll be promoted to Chunin, which gives you the right to have a council seat as the head of the Senju, Uzumaki, and Namikaze clans, the Hokage said, and Naruto nodded. So, have you decided on your name, and if you will take the seat right now, the Hokage asked? Naruto once again was lost in his thoughts. The Uzumaki name has been with him since his birth, but it's too far away, and apparently he's the last Uzumaki along with Tsunade. He would like to honor the Namikaze name of his father, but that never belonged to any clan, and he wouldn't want to forget the Senju clan. The Uchiha name was out of the question, and as such, the only choice was between Senju and Namikaze. It was a tough choice in the end. Naruto would be leaving one name to die, and as such, he decided that he should not let the name of the founders of Konoha to be forgotten in history. I'll take the Senju name. From now on, I'm Senju Naruto, Naruto said, and the Hokage smiled. It was a good choice, as if there were any other choice, but Naruto would like that he chose the founder's clan name. Are you taking a seat now? The Hokage asked. Naruto mused and thought. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of noise because of this, Naruto said. Yes, but they can't deny you your heritage, the Hokage explained. I'll take it. Now let's go make some noise, Naruto said, smirking at the thought of all those civilians yelling, and the Hokage's sweat just dropped. The Hokage flourished chakra, and an Anbu dropped from the ceiling and kneeled in front of him waiting for orders. Summon the council and call Uchiha Sasuke and Nara Shikamaru, the Hokage said. Hi, the Anbu replied and disappeared in smoke. Let's go face the music, Senju Naruto, the Hokage said, chuckling, and they all left the office and went towards the council room. Council room. It took about half an hour before all the clan heads could come. They were all seated in their traditional places. The Hokage, Jiraiya, Naruto, and Hinata walked through double doors and saw that the council was already assembled. The Hokage sat down and noticed the room. To his left were the clan heads. There was an empty seat closest to him, followed by Inuzuka Sume, head of the Inuzuka clan, Hyuga Hiyashi, head of the Hyuga clan, Aburame Shibi, head of the Aburame clan, Nara Shukaku, head of the Nara clan, Yamanaka Inuichi, head of the Yamanaka clan, and finally, Akamichi Choza, head of the Akamichi clan. To his right, there were his advisors, Shimura Danzo, Mitokado Hamura, and Utatane Koharu. Next to them was the civilian side of the council. It consisted of the most important civilians in the village that ran the most shops and provided food, clothes, and other materials and services for shinobi to use. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, grandson of the legendary Uchiha Madara. Sasuke remembered those words as he watched Naruto walk into the room. His long hair and the fan on his back made Sasuke seethe his teeth as he was permanently reminded of his utter defeat. The council is in session, Hokage said before looking at the genin in front of him. We are here today to award promotions to these extraordinary genin for their skill and work during the invasion, Hokage said. Nara Shikamaru, step forward, Hokage called out, and Shikamaru stepped forward as requested. For great playing during your match and work during the invasion, we promote you to Chunin. Congratulations and keep up the good work, the Hokage said, and threw him a flak jacket. Troublesome, Shikamaru said before pulling his jacket on and stepping back. Hyuga Hinata, the Hokage called out, and Hinata stepped forward. For great skill in taijutsu and ninjutsu, and for remaining calm in the face of stronger opponents, we promote you to Chunin. Congratulations, Hokage said with a smile. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Hinata replied. Uchiha Sasuke, the Hokage called out, and he stepped forward with his traditional cocky smirk. You are a special case. After many deliberations and taking into account the work you did during the invasion, you are promoted to Chunin. At this, Sasuke's smirk got even wider. But any sign of insubordination or ferreting conduct and you are stripped of the rank, understood? The Hokage said in a serious voice, licking a bit of ki. Of course, Hokage-sama, Sasuke replied still with a smile. And finally, the Hokage said, shifting his attention towards Naruto. For great skill in defeating not only Shukaku, but for providing great assistance during the invasion in defeating the Kage, and providing assistance to me against Orochimaru. I award the rank of Elite Chunin to Senju Naruto, the Hokage said, and an immense silence followed. Everyone was still wondering if they heard their Hokage correctly. What? Sasuke yelled out and pretty much resumed the thoughts of everyone in the room. How can he be a Senju? Sasuke said, spitting the Senju name. He has the Sharingan, Naruto stated. Everything I said is true. Naruto was the last remaining Senju in the village, Hokage explained. And surprisingly enough, no one yelled or said anything, and they just stared at the Hokage waiting for an explanation. You all know that Senju Tsunade had a daughter, right? The Hokage asked, and the clan heads nodded. Yes, but she died, Hiashi stated in a calm tone. That Naruto was becoming more surprising by the moment. Her death was faked by me to protect her from the CRA, the Hokage said, and they all gasped. To think the Hokage would go to such lengths to protect someone from the CRA. Her death was faked, and Uzumaki Kushina was born, the Hokage said, and Shukaku's eyes widened in realization. Troublesome, he said without thinking, making the Hokage focus on him. Trust Naruto to figure out the rest, Hokage thought. Would you like to do the honors, Hokage asked. Troublesome, Shukaku said before pulling his thoughts together. You all remember that red-haired loudmouth, right? Shukaku asked, and everyone nodded. After all, Konoha's Red Death wasn't easily forgotten. We all know who she was always around, right? Shukaku asked almost rhetorically. Yes, that hussy was always around Minato-kun, the pink banshee said. The moment she said hussy, Naruto's chakra spiked to the level that everyone gulped in a dry throat due to his presence alone. However, he didn't release any ki, and as such, the civilians were all oblivious to that. If Naruto was a member of the Senju clan, the only possible outcome would be if he's Kushina's son and looking at him, blonde hair, blue eyes, I'm confident assuming that Minato was the father, Shukaku said, and everyone's eyes widened. Who's Minato? Sasuke asked, who was oblivious. You wanted to know who my father was, right? Naruto asked Sasuke, who nodded. My father was Namikaze Minato, Yondaime Hokage, and Uchiha Madara's son, Naruto said, and everyone's jaw hit the ground. Who would, in their sanity, believe that Madara's son would become Hokage? It's ironic. The son of the greatest traitor became our biggest hero, Naruto said out loud. And the funny part of all this is that Madara hated the Senju, and his son ended up marrying one, Shukaku said, and everyone chuckled. So that means that you're the great-grandson of Senju Hashirama, the Shindaime Hokage, great-grandnephew of Senju Tobirama, the Nandaime Hokage, grandson of Uchiha Madara, and son of Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage, Sume said, whistling. That was one powerful lineage right there. And you people treat him like garbage, Sume growled to the civilian side who held their heads down in shame. But that's not all, Hokage said, gathering their attention to him. I'm resigned, and as such, I've chosen my successor, Hokage said, and many were shocked by this blunt statement. After this meeting, Jiraiya, along with Naruto, will be retrieving Senju Tsunade, Naruto's grandmother, for the position of Godaime Hokage, the Hokage said, and people were happy with this choice. Tsunade was considered a princess in the village, and was a Sannin with the power of a Kage, so she was a fine choice. A very strong lineage indeed, Hiashi commented, but everyone could hear the tone which was said. A fine choice. Perhaps my teachings weren't a total loss, Hiashi thought discreetly, looking at Hinata. Even if they were low in numbers, the Senju clan was still one of the most powerful and renowned clans in the entire world. Enough! Sasuke yelled, making everyone jump from the sun's sound spike. You're an affront to Uchiha clan. You flaunt that fan and have the Sharingan, and yet you choose to honor the Senju name, Sasuke said. You're a disgrace and unworthy of such a weapon, Sasuke spat. You want my fan now, Naruto asked. Yes, I demand you hand that fan over to me, as it belongs to an elite Uchiha, like me, Sasuke said, and Naruto laughed, and Sasuke got a tick mark on his face. You don't even know how irony-packed that statement is, Naruto said, and Sasuke got confused and was getting angrier by the moment. I will explain everything, so just listen, Naruto stated. Sasuke, can you tell me what are the levels of Sharingan? Naruto asked, prying around a bit, wondering if he knew about the Mangekyo. The Hokage sent Naruto a look that clearly said, "Do you think it's wise?" But Naruto nodded. It would become knowledge at any point in time, so he just wanted to get this over with so he didn't have anything more to worry about. 3 levels, for 1 to 3 Tomoes in each eye, Sasuke said simply, but Naruto sent a knowing look. Fine, there's a 4th level called Mangekyo Sharingan, but it can only be obtained by killing your best friend, Sasuke blurted out, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Naruto knew of that because Kurama told him about it, but how could Sasuke know? How do you know how to achieve it? Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes. Itachi told me to come after him when I had the same eyes as him, Sasuke replied, and Naruto seemed to accept the answer. Now, let me tell you all something that has long been forgotten, Naruto said, and everyone's eyes focused on him. We all know the legend of the Rikudo Sannin, right? Naruto asked, and everyone nodded. They were all shinobi, and as such they all knew the tales of their father. Rikudo Sannin was a shinobi of unparalleled power. He was even considered to be a god. During his life, he had 2 sons. His older son inherited the sage's eyes and founded the Uchiha clan, and the younger brother inherited the sage's body and founded the Senju clan, Naruto said, and everyone raised an eyebrow at the statement. How do you know all this, Naruto-san? Shibi asked. Let's just say the furball is an endless pit of information, Naruto explained, and his stomach growled the furball nickname. Moving on, when his life was ending, he had to choose who would carry on his work, and as such, he chose the younger brother, the Senju leader. However, this didn't sit well with the Uchiha brother, who thought that being the firstborn deserved to be the one to lead the world to peace through strength, Naruto said, and everyone was focused on his explanation. The silence was disturbing. As such, the older brother challenged the younger one to a battle for a title but lost. Angry with this loss, he decided to exterminate the Senju before it even began, but he would need more power to do that. He decided to perform a blood ritual to transform normal people into Uchihas, capable of using the Sharingan. Naruto explained, and everyone's eyes widened. The benefits of such a ritual were unparalleled and could easily bring Konoha to heights never before reached. The Uchihas created by the blood ritual were half-blood, while the ones that came from the older brother's bloodline were called elite, or pure blood. Everyone understand? Naruto asked, and everyone nodded. The pure bloodline was my grandfather's line, going from Mito into me. I assume that my grandfather is dead from a letter I have from him, so I'm the last of the pure blood Uchihas, making Sasuke a half-blood. Naruto explained, and Sasuke seethed. He didn't want to be a half-blood created by some ritual. And what's the difference between the pure bloods and the half-blood? Shukaku asked curiously. The key difference lies in the activation of the 4th and final stage of the Sharingan. In pure blood Uchihas, the final level is achieved like any others through training in life and death situations like mine, Naruto said and closed his eyes. He opened them and showed the normal Sharingan, but then the Sharingan started to slowly spin until it became his Mangekyo. This is my Mangekyo. I achieved it when that civilian sent 2 Joins to kill me. I've got to thank you for that, Naruto said, smirking with his EMS glowing all its glory. Everyone was drawn to his eyes, his blood-red eyes that seemed to give off power beyond anything ever imagined. The true power of the Sharingan. The power of Uchiha Madara. He just became much more dangerous, Hiyashi thought as he watched his Mangekyo glow. But there was one more key difference, Naruto said, and broke everyone's trance just from looking at his eyes. If a half-blood Uchiha awakens his Mangekyo, the more they use it, the more the eyes get sealed until there is nothing more than darkness, Naruto said, and everyone's eyes widened. So that's the price for power for the half-blood. That's why I said you didn't know how irony-packed that statement was. You called yourself an elite Uchiha, but in the end, you're nothing more than a copy, Naruto explained as he deactivated his eyes and waited for the explosion. That came out a little harsher than I wanted it to, Naruto thought in retrospect. How dare you mock me, Sasuke said, spitting every word. Is there any proof you can give, Sasuke asked. Just one. My fan, Naruto said, and removed it from his back. This fan was created by Rikudo Sannin, and as such, only a true descendant can wield it without massive chakra consumption, Naruto explained. Hinata-chan, can you check Sasuke's chakra levels? Naruto asked. If he gave the fan to Sasuke and he didn't have enough chakra, he would hit the ground dead like a sack of potatoes. He's around join level, Naruto said, and Naruto nodded. You want to prove that you're a pureblood, Naruto asked, and Sasuke nodded. Then pick up my fan without fainting, Naruto said, and offer the fan to Sasuke. The moment Sasuke just touched the fan, he collapsed to the ground on his knees, taking deep breaths. Is that enough proof? Naruto asked as he placed the fan on his back. There are only 2 people in the whole world that can use the fan. Me and my grandmother Senju Tsunade, Naruto explained, and everyone was still processing everything they heard until now. It doesn't mean that you can't be strong, Sasuke. It only means the next level of eyes isn't worth the cost, Naruto explained. He knew that this explanation would piss off Sasuke even more, but he had to find out sometime. I'll make my own choices, Senju, Sasuke said, and left the council room without even asking for permission and slammed the door shut. It was inevitable, the Hokage said. I have a question, Danzo said, and Naruto shifted his attention towards him. Do you know how to do this blood ritual? Danzo innocently asked. No, but even if I did, I wouldn't reveal it, Naruto said, and Danzo scoffed. I hold no hate for them, but the half-blood Uchihas shouldn't have even been created in the first place, Naruto explained. That's a bit harsh coming from you, Inoichi said. True, but you knew the Uchihas and their hunger for power. If they all knew how to achieve the next level, what do you think they would do? Naruto rhetorically asked. I think Itachi wiping them out was a blessing in disguise, Naruto said. You have no idea how right you are, the Hokage thought to himself as his personal counselors. Well, this was a strange day of revelations, Hamura said. Yes, is there anything else you want to discuss, the Hokage said, and the pink banshee raised her hand. Yes, Hokage-sama. Since Naruto-sama is now the sole heir to a clan, the CRA applies to him, the pink banshee said, and Naruto's eye twitched. I have a question. You didn't know about me until now, so why didn't Sasuke go into the CRA? Naruto asked, trying to outmaneuver them as he already knew this was coming. We didn't want to pressure him as he might run away, the pink banshee explained. Well, then apply the same principle to me. If you force me into the CRA, I will leave the village, and if Senju Uzumaki, Namikaze, and pure-blooded Uchiha line ends with me, Naruto said out loud and clear, and Jiraiya scoffed. He didn't know why his godson wouldn't want an Aram, but he was just like Minato, an idealist. Hinata is the only one for me, Naruto said, and Hinata turned bright red. Kids with Naruto-kun? Hinata thought before fainting. Naruto quickly rushed to her and caught her just before she hit the deck. She hasn't fainted in years, Naruto said, chuckling. So, are we clear about the CRA? Naruto asked with a serious voice. But you can't refuse this law, the pink banshee tried to explain, but she couldn't but feel a bit scared of him. I took a Biju down alone. I suppose the civilians like you that are going to force me, Naruto rhetorically asked. He didn't want to flaunt his power, but in this case he was forced to. The pink banshee flinched at this tone and said nothing more. She was trying to set him up with Sakura, but appeared to be too late. The shinobi side never really appreciated the CRA, especially the females. Just the thought of being turned into a baby factory made them want to puke. Anything else? Naruto asked, but everyone remained silent. The meeting is adjourned, the Hokage said, and everyone started to leave, except Jiraiya, Naruto, and the fainting Tsunade who was regaining consciousness. That was a very interesting meeting, the Hokage explained. Yes, and he didn't want to kill me this time, Naruto said, chuckling. Although Sasuke didn't seem happy, Naruto said. Can't really blame him, Jiraiya said. Are you ready to head out? Jiraiya asked. 2 things. Can Nana go with us? And I would like to visit Gaara before we head out, Naruto said, and both Jiraiya and the Hokage nodded. Here, the Hokage gave him a paper to allow him to visit Gaara. Meet with Jiraiya and Nana at the North Gate in 2 hours then, the Hokage said, and everyone left the room. IT Department. Naruto made his way towards the Interrogation and Torture Division. The IT Division was located near the Hokage Tower, so it was only a couple of minutes on the foot. He entered the building, and suddenly Kunai came out of nowhere and grazed his cheek, drawing a bit of blood. Naruto turned around to see Anko trying to lick his blood, but apparently the wound was already closed. What kind of green is this? Naruto asked, shaking his head. You're no fun, Anko pouted. So, what are you doing here, Miss Uchiha? Anko asked, and Naruto sighed. My name is Senju Naruto, and I'm here to see Gaara, Naruto explained, and Anko's eyes widened to the Senju name. Here, Naruto said, and delivered her the Hokage's permission to visit the inmates. After you, Senju-sama, Anko said, licking her lips and bowing deeply. Crazy snake-lady, Naruto muttered and thought. Naruto made his way down the stairs and came across a heavy metallic door with an ambush station outside. Naruto quickly showed him his permission and was allowed inside where the holding cells were. This section didn't have many cells when compared to Konoha's prison because the IT department was only temporary. Naruto arrived to the last cell and looked inside, and there were Baki, Tamari, Kankuro, all wearing chakra seals and restricting clothes. Gaara, however, was chained to the middle of the room with a kanji circle around him. "Come to glow?" Tamari asked, her voice broken and weak. "Not my style," Naruto replied. She didn't understand how a 14-year-old defeated not only her sensei, who was a joint, but also her brother. "In fact, I came to talk to Gaara and explain a few things," Naruto said, and Gaara looked up, locking eyes with Naruto. "How's the seal?" Naruto asked. "How are you so strong?" Gaara asked, instead of replying to Naruto's original question. Enter Naruto as T1, sadness and sorrow. The pain of being alone. "It's really terrible, right?" Naruto asked, and Gaara's eyes widened. "I don't know why, but I understand your feelings so well that it hurts me," Naruto said, and everyone was silent. "But I have precious people now, and I would never allow anyone to hurt them," Naruto said. "Why do that for strangers?" Gaara asked with a shaky voice. "Because they took away my solitude and loneliness," Naruto said. "They saved me from my hell, and because of that, they are precious to me, and I would do anything for them," Naruto explained. "Love. Is that why he is so strong?" Gaara mused and thought. "Hinata-chan, Hokage Gigi, Eureka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, and more," Naruto said, smiling. "I don't have anyone like that." "You were lucky," Gaara said sadly. "You just have to look around, and not very far," Naruto said, pointing towards his siblings and sensei. "When I placed the barrier, they jumped in, even knowing that you might lose control and kill them as well," Naruto explained. "Really?" Gaara shakily asked. "Of course, Gaara. We are your siblings. We would do anything for you," Kankuro said, patting him on the back. "Thank you," Gaara said, smiling for the first time in a long time. End of Naruto OST 1, Sadness and Sorrow. Before we begin, I need to tell you that, Naruto bit his lips but continued. "I was the one that killed your father," Naruto said. "Killing someone else's father is hardly a good thing when starting a friendship." "Good," Gaara said, and Naruto faltered for a moment before regaining his senses. "Good?" Naruto asked in disbelief. "Yes. He turned me into a weapon, and then tried to kill me on several occasions by saying assassins. Besides, he was never a father to any one of us," Gaara explained, and Naruto sighed in relief. "Now, I have good news and bad news," Naruto said, and the Sand team focused on him. "The demands we made towards the Sand were financial reimbursement and the Ichibi," Naruto said, and everyone's eyes widened. "Which means that you, Gaara, won't be allowed to leave the village," Naruto said, and Gaara remained silent. "However, you might be able to join our ranks and be a Jinchuriki like me," Naruto explained, and Gaara nodded. He never really enjoyed his time in the Sand, so maybe Konoha would be a nice change of pace. "What about us?" Tamari asked. She didn't know what they were planning for them, and it could be execution. "As an offer of good faith towards the Sand, we are offering you a choice. You can remain here in the Leaf as Shinobi, or you can return to your home village," Naruto explained, and he started thinking. "We stay with our little brother," Tamari and Kankuro said, and Naruto chuckled and turned to Baki, who remained silent for this whole meeting. I can't remain here. I have people there," Baki shakily said, and Naruto nodded. "I understand," Naruto said, and got up. "I'm going now to get the 5th Hokage since the old man is retiring. When I come back, I will take you all to ramen, my treat," Naruto said. "Ramen?" Gaara asked. They apparently didn't have those types of food there. "Ramen is food for the gods. You will love it. See you in a few days," Naruto said, and he left the IT department, heading towards the gate where Jiraiya and Hinata were waiting. "Naruto, you are a strange person," Gaara thought. Sand Village Council Room. It's been a couple days since the failed invasion, and the scarce survivors of the invading force arrived at Suna to inform them of a terrible mistake and ever worse failure. News that Akatsuki was killed in combat forced the council to be summoned, and the demands from the Leaf answered. Of the 1,000 shinobi they sent, only a couple dozen survived to tell the tale. It was a massacre to the Sand Shinobi to lose so much and gain nothing in return. The Sand never stood a chance. Even with Oto and Gaara's power combined, they were utterly defeated. The Suna Council was composed of 12 members. Now only 10 since the Akatsuki was dead, and Baki, the joint commander, was missing in action or dead. "What a mess," Dai said. Dai was one of the youngest members of the council. He was a Chunin who got recently promoted and was the head of intelligence in the Sand. "What do we do now?" Aki asked. Aki was a middle-aged man. He was a retired Chunin from the shinobi life and chose a simple civilian life with his wife and kids. "I say we fight," Kimi said. Kimi was one of the few civilians in the council. She was the leader of the civilian council that ran all the stores in the village. We can't fight. We lost a fifth of our shinobi to that invasion. That attack was a leap of faith and a wild card. We are severely weakened now, and we probably won't be able to hold an attack should the Leaf go to war with us, Aki explained. According to the reports, the Jinchuriki was able to defeat Gaara and kill the Kage along with 200 of our own with a single jutsu, Yura said, and everyone's eyes widened. What could they do against such an overwhelming force? We can't do anything else but to surrender to their terms, Yura said, sighing. Their village took a very hard blow and would take years to recover. We can't surrender to them, Kimi said. We broke the peace treaty and we invaded and we lost. We have no choice but to surrender the money and the Ichibi to them, Yura said. They want our Biju? That's unacceptable, Aki said. Would you prefer war? Yura rhetorically asked. We can win. We will have home field advantage, Dai explained. And their Jinchuriki uses the same jutsu and obliterates the village. Konoha isn't considered the strongest of the five for no apparent reason. They won all three of the world wars, and this invasion was proof their strength hasn't diminished, Yura explained. I told you many times that alliances make you dependent and weak. I never thought of seeing this village fall to such a degree, Chiyo said. Chiyo was one of the elders of the sand and the one that performed the sealing on Gaara. How much money are they asking, Kimi asked. For property damage and lives lost, they are asking for 50 billion, Yura said. That will almost destroy our economy. You must renegotiate with them, Kimi said. These terms are non-negotiable. We should never have placed our faith on Orochimaru of all people, Yura said, shaking his head. So what's left of this village? Without help, we will probably no longer be considered a shinobi village among the Great Five, Dai said. We must make new alliances, Aki explained, and a few nodded. A new alliance would cement their growth, so they can stand back up and prevent any attacks. Yes, send word for the Tsuchikage, Yura said. And that is the end of chapter 24. So now we move on to chapter 25, Searching for the Old Hag, which is also the final chapter of this video, so here we go. Chapter 25, Searching for the Old Hag. Otogaku. Orochimaru was cursing every single fiber of Naruto's being. Orochimaru was considering if he should keep Naruto alive for his purposes or kill him for destroying the chakra network on his arm. The moment his chakra network was destroyed, he lost the ability to mold chakra in that arm, preventing him from doing hand seals, and as such, preventing him from doing any type of jutsus that required any hand seals. Kabuto had studied his arm and tried to heal it, but you can't heal something that doesn't exist. With his level of knowledge, Kabuto didn't stand a chance at doing anything to heal his master. Of course, Orochimaru had a solution, which was to swap bodies, but he wanted to wait for a very special body that he felt was getting closer and closer. He could feel all of Sasuke's hatred and hunger for vengeance, and soon enough, he would belong to Orochimaru. I'm sorry, Orochimaru-sama, but this type of wound is beyond me, Kabuto replied sadly, and Orochimaru cursed the blonde. Everything was good until he showed up, and the barrier he placed didn't even slow him down, but above else, he has the eyes Orochimaru always wanted, the Mangekyo Sharingan. It can't be helped. There is only one person that might be able to heal me, Orochimaru said, sweating. Losing the chakra network in his arm placed him in constant pain as his cells weren't properly fed. And who might that be? Kabuto asked as he pushed the glasses up his face. My former teammate, Senju Tsunade, Orochimaru replied with a glint in his eyes. He knew exactly what it would take to convince her. Contact our spies. We are leaving now, Orochimaru ordered. Konoha's Dango stand. A few days had passed since Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya left in search for Naruto's grandmother, Senju Tsunade, so she could return to the village to become Hiruzen's successor as the Godaime Hokage. The construction around the village was progressing very well as they didn't receive much damage. The most important buildings were protected by Naruto's barrier seals, allowing the hospital and other buildings to remain working non-stop. In the middle of Konoha, more precisely in the Dango stand that Anko spent most of her time in, were two cloaked persons inside drinking a bit of tea and eating dango since it was a dango stand. Both of them had long, high-colored black cloaks with red clouds on them. On top of their heads, straw hats with a small bell hanging by a small red wire. These two unknown members actually belonged to an organization called the Akatsuki. They were after the Bijus like the one in Naruto, but no one knew that. Have you heard the news? One civilian asked, and both Akatsuki members focused on the conversation. Believe it or not, listening to civilians talk is a very good way to scout for information. About what? One other civilian replied. That brat Uzumaki Naruto is now Senju Naruto. Apparently he's the heir of the Senju clan and great-grandson of the first Hokage, the civilian said. Did you hear that, Itachi-san? The Akatsuki member asked his partner, now identified as Itachi. Uchiha Itachi, the prodigy of the Uchiha clan, and the one that butchered all of them except his little brother a few years ago. Yes, Kisame. We must inform our leader of this new revelation, Itachi replied in his monotone voice, and Kisame nodded. You don't say, but I thought he was an Uchiha since he has the Sharingan, the civilian replied, and Itachi's eyes widened, revealing a pair of blood-red eyes with 3 tomoes in it. I think you missed one a couple years ago, Kisame said, chuckling. It was fun to see at least some emotion coming off from Itachi since he was always stoic and didn't say much. Interesting. How can Naruto-kun have the Sharingan? Itachi mused and thought. I know for certainty that I killed all of my clan, minus my foolish little brother. Neither Kushina-senpai nor Minato had the Sharingan. Is it the Kyuubi? Itachi thought as he ran through all the various scenarios in his head to explain this. What are you thinking so hard about? Kisame asked in an amused tone. I don't understand how Naruto could be an Uchiha. It doesn't add up, Itachi replied. Well, if you listen to what they were saying, you would know. Apparently the brat is the grandson of Uchiha Madara, Kisame said, and Itachi froze. He never said anything about having a grandson. If he had a grandson, he would most likely use him to achieve his goals. Kushina-senpai didn't give off chakra similar to an Uchiha, which only leads me to conclude that it was Minato, Itachi thought. Minato never showed his Sharingan, yet he was a force to be reckoned with. Deception. The true way of the shinobi, Itachi thought, chuckling to himself. He was considered a genius among geniuses, a prodigy that appears once every 100 years. Very similar to Minato, but appears Minato won the pool. This is very interesting indeed, Itachi said as they continued to listen to their conversation. A few minutes later, another civilian said something that caught their attention. It's a good thing that the Sendaime is retiring. He did so much for our village, he deserves to rest, the civilian said. Yes. And the person chosen to become the Godaime Hokage was Senju Tsunade, the civilian said. Looks like the Hokage title falls into the Senju once again, the civilian replied. I know, the other replied, chuckling. Dry-sama left with Naruto-sama so they could find her, bring her back, the civilian said. Looks like we lucked out. The Kyuubi just left town, Kisame said sadly. He was hoping to feed a good portion of his chakra to Samehada. Yes, let's leave before we are discovered, Itachi replied, and both of them stood up and left the stand. Both members were walking through the village, making their way out of the village when they came across 2 familiar faces, to Itachi at least. You aren't from the village, right? Asuma asked, weary of the unidentified males in front of them. Why are you here? Asuma asked. Long time no see, Asuma-san, Kurenai-san, Itachi said in his monotone voice. If you know who we are, then you must be a shinobi from this village, Asuma said. Itachi simply raised his hat slightly to allow them to see his blood-red eyes. Then when they saw his eyes, they both tensed. Uchiha Itachi? Asuma asked, and Itachi dropped his hat and let his hair flow with the wind, locking eyes with the 2 joining in front of him. You know these people, Itachi-san? Kisame asked, and also dropped his hat. Then I'll present myself. Hoshigaki Kisame. A pleasure to meet you, Kisame said. You dare show your face after what you've done? Asuma asked as he kept his guard up. Even with Kurenai, he didn't know if he could take him on, and his companion wouldn't help at all. I'm going to end you both, Asuma said. Itachi-san. It looks like you're a hating this village, Kisame said, chuckling. I know who you are, Kurenai said, eyeing Kisame. Hoshigaki Kisame, former member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist, Kurenai informed. You're in a lot of trouble for coming here, Itachi, Asuma said. Don't get involved in my work. I have no intention of killing you, Itachi said. You aren't the type of person to return here without a goal. What is it that you want from this village? Asuma asked. You are annoying, Kisame said, and took his sword out and hit the ground, making chunks fly and a bit of dust rise. Should I kill them? Kisame asked Itachi. It appears we aren't leaving without a fight, Itachi said. The moment Itachi said that, Kisame picked up his sword and tried to hit Asuma, who jumped back to avoid it. Asuma took out his trench knives and blocked the next sword swing. Kurenai used the cover that Asuma gave her and went through hand seals, disappearing into thin air. Genjutsu? Itachi thought as he used his Sharingan to analyze the battle. Asuma was starting to sweat as he was being pushed by the sword. Kisame was a lot stronger than he let on, and that was with only a single hand. My Samehada doesn't cut. It shreds, Kisame said, and pulled his sword back, straining through Asuma's skin and drawing blood, making him wince in pain. Meanwhile, Kurenai had her genjutsu ready. You're late, Kurenai, Asuma said, nursing his arm. The moment Asuma said that, the ground around Kisame started to melt, and he was trapped and unable to move. Behind Itachi, a tree suddenly sprouted from the ground and snared him in place. Kurenai emerged from the tree with a kunai in hand, getting ready to kill him. This is the end for you, Kurenai said, and moments later she realized that she was the one pinned to the tree and was watching Itachi run towards her with a bladed hand. Kurenai bit her lip and used the pain to break the illusion. The moment she broke it, she ducked under a horizontal slash from Itachi's blade. Itachi saw Kurenai duck and gave her a kick that she blocked, but she was sent towards the nearby river nonetheless. Kurenai! Asuma shouted, concerned for her. You don't have time to look away, Kisame said. Meanwhile, on top of the river, that was very good, Kurenai-san, Itachi said as he quickly appeared next to her at the river. But, Itachi said, but was interrupted. But this is the end for you, another voice said from behind Itachi. He turned around to come face to face with Kakashi himself. Asuma was dodging swing after swing until he saw an opening and tried to slash with his knives that gave Kisame a small cut through his cheek. As for reply, Kisame started going through hand seals and said, Suiton, Suryudan no Jutsu, Water Dragon, Kisame said, and from the river a water dragon erupted and went towards Asuma. Out of nowhere came another water dragon of equal strength that clashed with the one from Kisame, destroying each other. The same jutsu? Kisame asked, surprised. Why are you here? Asuma asked. I thought you might need a hand, Kakashi replied. Suddenly Itachi's hand flew out of his jacket with shurikens ready to throw. Kakashi jumped back and said, Suiton, Suijin Heki, water wall. A water wall rose up around Kakashi, blocking 4 water drills. Apparently, the shurikens were a mere distraction from Itachi. He's fast. I barely saw the hand seals, Kakashi thought as he analyzed the powerful opponent in front of him. Very good. You are skilled with that eye of yours, Itachi said right before a shadow clone from Itachi came right behind Kakashi and stabbed him with a kunai. Kakashi burst into water, revealing to be a simple water clone. Water clone? Kisame asked, amazed. He knows so many jutsus from my village, Kisame thought. Itachi was looking for Kakashi when something caught his attention. He looked down only to see Kakashi giving Kurenai a kunai. But the moment Kurenai was about to attack one of the Itachis in the river, Kakashi tackled her just before the clone exploded. Kakashi! Kurenai! Asuma yelled as he also jumped into the river. The water was coming down from the explosion and showed a life-scorched Kakashi and an unharmed Kurenai and Asuma. Be careful with him. He became an Anbu captain at 13 years old, Kakashi explained. I didn't expect him to be so strong, Asuma said, surprised. No. He has yet to show his true strength, Kakashi explained. You are really skilled with your Sharingan, even though you are an Uchiha, Itachi said. He's right. I tire easily, Kakashi thought. Sharingan. The true power of the Sharingan. I'm about to show you why the Uchiha clan were feared and unparalleled in power, Itachi said just before his eyes opened very slowly. This is bad. If his powers what Naruto told me about, then we were in big trouble, Kakashi thought. Guys, close your eyes. No matter what happens, don't open them, Kakashi yelled, stressing every word. Only a Sharingan user can fight him, Kakashi explained. It's true that a Sharingan user can resist it, but you can't counter this technique with it, Itachi explained, just before he locked eyes with Kakashi. Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi world. The moment Itachi pronounced that single word, Kakashi was drawn into another world. The sky was red, and the clouds and sun were black. Kakashi was pinned to a cross, trying his best to break the illusion. Don't overexert yourself. This technique is unbreakable. In here, I'm God, and control everything. 3 days in here are but 3 seconds in the real world, Itachi explained, as he had a sword in his hand, and was very clear of what he was going to do to Kakashi. Suddenly Itachi stabbed Kakashi in the gut, and he yelled in pain. Itachi suddenly multiplied, and all of them had swords and started stabbing Kakashi as well. 71 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds remaining, Itachi said, as Kakashi was healed and he started stabbing again. Real world, 3 seconds later. What happened? Asuma asked as he felt Kakashi wince in pain but didn't know what happened. His mind held on, Kisame asked, surprised to see Kakashi still standing but taking hard breaths. It was a miracle that he even managed to stand. But, Itachi-san, it's dangerous to use those eyes, Kisame said. By the looks of it, Naruto was right, Kakashi thought. Are you after Sasuke? Kakashi asked, his voice strained by the genjutsu he just suffered. No, Itachi replied. We are looking for the Undaime's legacy, Itachi replied in his traditional monotone voice. You are from the Akatsuki, aren't you? Kakashi asked, surprising everyone there. Kisame, we are taking Kakashi with us, Itachi suddenly said. And Kisame dashed towards him, only to be intercepted by a fierce kick from Konoha's green beast, Maito Guy. Who are you? Kisame asked as he regained his footing. Konoha's green beast, Maito Guy. Guy replied with his teeth sparkling as he took his Goken stance. Look at you. Perhaps you meant to say fool, Kisame taunted, but Itachi cut him off, saying, Don't underestimate him. Suddenly Kakashi fell to the water and started sinking, only to be caught by Guy. Open your eyes, Guy said to Asuma and Kurenai. But Kurenai said but was cut off. Just don't look at his eyes. Focus on his legs and arms and fight from there, Guy explained as they both opened their eyes, but it seemed that they were always drawn to lock eyes with Itachi. Easier said than done, Asuma said. Kisame, we are leaving. We didn't come here to start a war, Itachi said, and they both disappeared in a blur. They are gone. I'm taking Kakashi to the hospital, Guy said, and disappeared as well. With Sasuke. Sasuke was currently in the Uchiha compound in one of the many train grounds, taking out his frustration on some unlucky wooden dummy. He was frustrated from everything he learned during the council meeting, that Naruto just seemed to have everything. Sharingan, Sasuke remembered as he drove a fist right through the wooden dummy, destroying the right arm. Uchiha Madara, Sasuke remembered, and gave an open palm strike and severed the dummy's head. Senju, Sasuke remembered, and gave it a spin kick and destroying both legs, leaving only torso left. Pure blood! Sasuke seethed and charged Chidori and completely obliterated the dummy, leaving nothing but bits and chunks on the ground. The once mighty wooden dummy was no more. Sasuke took a couple of deep breaths, trying his best to calm himself. He went towards his house to take a bath to clean the sweat from the train session until he remembered something. When you awaken your Sharingan, go to the main house to look beneath the 7th tatami mat from the far right. That is where our clan used to meet. In there, you will find your answers, Sasuke remembered. One of the last things Itachi ever said to him, just after he massacred the clan, leaving only him behind. Sasuke quickly made his way towards the main hall. Since his clan's demise, he only used his house and the other buildings were just gathering dust. He quickly arrived at the main house and made his way towards the main hall. He counted 7 tatamis from the far right. He removed the 7th, and beneath it was a small staircase that seemed to go in deep beneath the main building. He quickly made his way down, but it was pitch black. He scanned his surroundings and used a small fire jutsu to light the torches. He suddenly came face to face with a big stone wall, and by the looks of it, it seemed very sturdy and heavy. But Sasuke noticed the Sharingan design in the middle of it and quickly activated his. What seemed to be an empty wall now had writing on it. He quickly performed the hand seals instructed on the wall in stone, moved to the side, allowing entrance to the chambers. Apparently, only someone with the Sharingan was allowed to enter such a place. Sasuke entered the new room, and as he expected, it was empty and dark, but the Sharingan enabled him to see better at night, so he found the torches and lit them. The moment the torches flared to life, Sasuke saw a big room with a tablet in the middle. Behind the tablet was a wall with the Uchiha fan on it. Sasuke used his Sharingan and looked very carefully at the tablet. It seemed that he could only read bits and pieces, but from what he could read, it clearly stated that there was another level above the Sharingan, and it was the Mangekyo Sharingan. Maybe the more advanced the eyes, the more I can read, Sasuke pondered and thought as he was using the Sharingan to read what was written on the tablet. Everything the tablet said was exactly like Itachi had said about his eyes. Sasuke knew he needed to achieve the next level of eyes so he could go up against his brother and defeat him. Interestingly enough, the tablet said nothing about the half-blood and pure-blood Uchiha, so Sasuke wondered just how old this tablet was. I will need every bit of power I can to defeat him. With Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya. A few days had passed since they left Konoha. As they were going towards the town, Jiraiya had received info from his spy network. According to his spies, Hinata was last seen in a small town in a land of fire called Tanzaku. One interesting fact is, don't for a moment think that Jiraiya won't be a pervert around you, even when you sleep. This particular fact was a surprise to Naruto and Hinata since both of them got a room for them, and Jiraiya was left with one to himself. Jiraiya, being a pervert that he is, thought that Naruto might be getting some action with his girlfriend, and as such used his infiltration jutsu and infiltrated Naruto's room with his notepad ready to write. Not a good idea to try and spy on someone who has the Sharingan Byakugan that can spot anyone using chakra. As such, he was once again on the receiving end of Hinata's Juken strikes and Naruto's defense seal zapping a poor pervert. They were approaching the town Jiraiya heard about. They had been walking for a couple of hours now, and they were starting to see the town on the horizon. This town was famous for having a huge castle in the middle. So, Naruto, are you working on some new technique? Dry asked, wanting any juicy details. If he had the same mind as his father's, then any technique would be worth learning. Actually, yes. I'm working on recreating the light armor since I saw the basics during the battle against Orochimaru. I can already channel light chakra through my synapses to further increase my reaction time, but the outer shell is a bit tricky, Naruto explained, and Jiraiya was stunned. You do realize that's an S-rank jutsu, right? Jiraiya asked. I know, that's why I'm trying to recreate it. I think I'm rather good with light jutsus. I'll get it down eventually, Naruto said, and Jiraiya nodded. His father was the same. When he got some jutsu idea on his head, it would stay there until it was solved. How about in the meantime you improve the Rasengan, Jiraiya said, and Naruto got a confused look. Improve? My father's notes didn't say anything about a better Rasengan, Naruto asked, and Jiraiya nodded. Your father created the Rasengan intending to add his elemental affinity to it, but it might be a bit of a jump to do that, so why don't you try to make a bigger Rasengan by pumping more chakra into it, Jiraiya said, and Naruto pondered. The Rasengan was by itself an A-rank jutsu. If you create a bigger one, it would go towards S-rank, and adding an elemental affinity, it would most likely be a one-shot kill. And Udama Rasengan, big Rasengan, Naruto asked for confirmation, and Jiraiya nodded. So I just pump more chakra into it, Naruto asked, and Jiraiya nodded again. How much more, Naruto asked. How about you try with twice chakra and go from there, Jiraiya said, and Naruto nodded. As they were walking, Naruto decided to try and do a big Rasengan. They were walking, and Naruto was focusing chakra to his hand. He started spinning the first round of chakra, and immediately created a layer to compress it, and easily reached the normal Rasengan. He started pouring more chakra into it, and the ball started glowing even more. Sensing no strain in containing it, he continued to add chakra and was easily reaching double the normal Rasengan. He was about to tell Jiraiya he managed to put in twice the amount of chakra when the Rasengan suddenly destabilized and exploded in his hand. The result of the explosion created a shockwave that sent everyone tumbling to the ground, as he didn't expect a backlash from the jutsu. His Rasengan seemed just fine a few moments ago. Damn it, Brad, Jiraiya said. How about you train away from us, Nana asked as she got up and dusted off her clothes. My bad, Naruto said, chuckling, rubbing the back of his head. We are almost at town. How about you save the train for later, Jiraiya said. Away from us, Jiraiya stressed, and Naruto's sweat dropped. It was a little shockwave after all. Fine, Naruto said, pouting as he couldn't train his new technique right away. He might be strong, but he's still a brat, Jiraiya said, shaking his head. But he isn't strong enough to take on Kage level Shinobi alone, though he has techniques to run away, Jiraiya thought, as he was thinking on what he should teach Naruto next. They arrived at the gates and entered the city. Hinata and Naruto were marveled by all the activity going on and all the people having fun in the various stands available. They didn't leave the village much and only started after they became genin. Let's go to a hotel and sleep tonight. We will start searching tomorrow, Jiraiya said, and they both nodded. They were calmly walking through the town, completely unaware of two presences after them. They were keeping their distance and suppressing their chakra levels so they wouldn't be detected. Looks like the information was accurate. He did leave the village with Jiraiya, but I don't know the girl, Kisame said as he watched the three of them check into a hotel. The girl's name is Hyuga Hinata, and she was the Hyuga's heiress, but was expelled from the clan, and Tachikama explained. She doesn't seem like much, Kisame said as he watched her. She seemed too fragile, like a doll. We are shinobi. Don't underestimate her. She was promoted to Chunin along with Naruto-kun. We don't have much info on her, so tread carefully even if she seems weak, Itachi explained. He was always the prudent one, while Kisame tended to jump in, guns blazing. Fine, but even we can't take on Jiraiya, Kisame said. Indeed. Let's find some girls, Itachi said, and Kisame's jaw dropped. You want to get laid? Kisame asked, and Itachi got a tick mark. I heard about Jiraiya's obsession for women. It's our best choice to distract him long enough for us to get into Naruto-kun, Itachi explained, and Kisame nodded. What about the girl? Kisame asked. She's irrelevant, although it appears that Naruto is very close to her. Notice how he walks close to her, yet he's slightly ahead of her as if shielding her, and he's ready to jump into action at any time, Itachi analyzed. He seems close to her, so we might use it to our advantage, Itachi said, and Kisame nodded. Let's go, Kisame said, and they both disappeared in a blur. And that is the end of chapter 25 and the last chapter of this video. Thank you all for watching this fanfic reading of chapters 23 for 25 of Legacy. I want to thank you all for the support of the series, and thank you all for support on the Legacy movie, part 1 of it to be more exact. It has 30,000 views as we speak, so, you know, thank you guys. And expect a certain rewrite to come this weekend. I think you guys will love it. Trust me, you guys are going to love it. Anyways, follow me on Twitter at AnimeStage4 for a number of good notified videos, as well as some other fun stuff in between. I'm very close to 1,000 followers, so let's get there. Follow me on Instagram, anime_stage4 for memes, and that's about it. And you can also probably interact with me directly, but not that much since I don't really use Instagram. But I'm getting close to 1,000 followers, so follow me there anyways. Join me in Discord servers, just link down in the description, as you guys get to interact with me directly, and you guys get to discuss my ideas, and some more fun stuff in between, so go join my Discord server. And you can follow such ones in the description down below, so again, join my Discord server, and follow me at AnimeStage4 and anime_stage4 on Twitter and Instagram, respectively. And for the last bit of this outro, I guess, make sure to watch my community tab like a hawk, and shout out to my $10 patrons, names on screen, and my $50 patron Anguish, and yeah, that should be about it for this video. But before I go, thank you all for 39k, and I can't wait to give you all live content pretty soon, and it's gonna be pretty crazy, so stay tuned. And that's about it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video, and this has been your boy, the Anime Sage, signing out. Peace, Yorha. Stephanie Shea closes out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.